There we go.
We're live. Survivor specialist Phil and Alexa are back with Survivor Hall of Famer and host of the Unauthorized Survivor NSFW podcast, and of course the most infamous, the Dead Grandma Lie. We got Jonny Fairplay on our podcast here. I mean, how can we not mention the Dead Grandma Lie within the first sentence of the podcast?
Come on. Wow. I mean, you guys are one half of the sexiest podcast combo I've ever seen. So.
Thank you.
I don't know if you've seen a lot of the other like I got Matt Bischoff and he's a sweetheart, but nothing compared to this.
we like to pretend, we like to pretend that we're like the good looking duo over here.
That's what we're going for.
Mission accomplished. I mean, you had Wendell on this week. I mean, he is a big. What's it, Childish Gambino? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty good get.
Exactly. Yeah, he's definitely. It's funny because somebody commented and said, "Is that Childish Gambino?" Like immediately, because still it's Survivor, but the first thing you're looking at, you don't see Wendell every day. You see Childish Gambino all the time.
We should have just said, "Yeah, it's him."
Sure. I mean, he's Lando Calrissian. I mean, come on.
Exactly. Well, we're joined by John tonight, so we're going to talk about this morning. Why am I saying tonight? But we have our power rankings and predictions for what is this? Episode 7?
Episode 8.
Episode 8. Sorry, we forget because after the merge.
I did Ghost Island. Is that
you did Ghost Island?
Same thing.
I have a lot of money riding on Jacob. I feel Jacob can take the whole thing. Am I off?
He's got this. No, I think that's the right call.
Okay, sweet. I mean, what can go wrong?
Exactly.
Stephanie Gonzalez and Jacob are going to take it away.
Wow. Stephanie Gonzalez should have been
she should have gone far.
I did Hearts to Reality with Stephanie Gonzalez, and if I don't know if you guys have ever met her, she's easily top 10 hottest survivors I've ever met in my entire ever. I mean, like it's this girl is smoking hot. And I was like, how are you an early boot? And she was like, they all have women. They're like, you can't, if you are in a sound relationship, you can't keep me there and justify that to your wife. And I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah, I did meet Stephanie. I met Stephanie Gonzalez last year, and yes, I agree. I took a picture with her and Brendan, and I felt like the ugliest human being on the face of the earth. So
Brendan's pretty good looking too. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Bradley, on the other hand, Bradley makes everyone look good. So that's
why I hang out with Bradley.
Oh, you're the one.
Only reason Phil hangs out. You're that one.
You're the one. I met Kellen and like Kellen, like I said mean things about her on my podcast. The sun's out, gums out, stuff like that. But but she was a sweetheart, and I loved her. And then Bradley, it was just like, that's the same dude. He sucks in real life too. He was nice enough, but I mean, he's still. I mean, in the grand scope of survivors, he's. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was nice to me. I knew him. I met him beforehand, so he was nice to me. But he definitely has one of those personalities where if you're not a fan of that very dry, very dark most of the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
It can be, and it's funny that him and Kellen were together. I don't know if they still are, but it was funny because
it seems like they're
the
not.
Person in the world.
It doesn't seem like their social media is less combined. So hopefully for her, I don't know.
Yeah, Kellen is incredibly nice. We had Kellen on the podcast last season, and
I did not.
Yeah, we stayed talking to her until like 4 a.m. We talked to her like 7 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Okay. Well, you guys have about 8 more minutes with me, and then
this is a 10-minute segment.
I just pretend that it's the highlights. We're good.
Exactly.
We actually talked for 3 hours and just spliced the whole thing.
Yeah,
exactly. That was all we had left. So John, we got to hear what you think so far about what are you feeling about this season? What are you feeling about this cast? What are you feeling? We keep saying it has an old school vibe, and I know you're like original old school, so you'll probably have something to say about that. But what are you feeling about this group, especially after recent seasons?
Well, are you telling me that you don't listen to my weekly podcast at Survivor NSFW, also found at SurvivorNSFW.com, with all the links to my Spotify and my iTunes and Stitcher and all these options to listen to? You don't go there like on a weekly basis and you hear that I love this season. This is possibly the most in love with Survivor that I've been, I would say 4 years, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just love. I mean, Game Changers. I liked. I mean, I know that some people
spicy take.
Yeah, some people have. I mean, I don't. I just saw. I saw some gun. I didn't. I hate pregame alliances that dictate the actual game. I mean, because it was it Sandra and Troyzan and Culpepper and it felt like a lot of the game was played before they even walked out there, and it was. And kudos to them for being smart enough to do that. But I love. I mean, don't say this to Propes because it's not true. Yeah. But I love strangers playing the game, and I love good. I like non-mactors playing the game. I mean, like Elizabeth. I was hoping for like a female Big Tom. And I didn't get that, but I got a real person. Mm-hmm. Nick. Nick, I've hung out with twice. I met in Cincinnati in June, and then I hung out with him at Hearts Reality in August. And I love him. I mean, he's actually for those of you that like to meet Nick, November 21st in Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm having one of my live viewing deals. Tickets available at SurvivorTix.com. That's SurvivorTix.com. But it's a new Thanksgiving Eve traditions Wednesday night, the night before Thanksgiving, because people go, hey. Your parties are tough sometimes because it's a school night. It's not a school night. That I don't know if you guys are aware. That is the number one bar night of the year. Is the night before Thanksgiving. So we'll be in Cincinnati, Ohio, at Frickers. God, we got like 8 survivors coming, and we got Roger Bingham, old school.
Wow!
Oh my God!
We got Sash Lanahan, we got Angela from Ghost Island, we got Nick, we got me, we got
this is a squad.
I try to bring a lot of things together, and I think we might even have a surprise or two coming. So it's I mean, I don't know, it's fun. We had Brandon Hance last Wednesday night. That was a train wreck.
No.
Shocker.
See, if Allison's mom and Brandon Hance, that is just
they never
180.
Brandon was in the was outside in the parking lot smoking cigarettes and threatening to fight people instead of actually watching the episode. So there was no interaction at all between Allison, her mom, and Brandon. So that worked out for everyone involved.
Amazing.
That was a win.
You say that you have a surprise coming, but anything more surprising than Roger Bingham? I don't know, man. That's like an all-timer right there.
Yeah, and we're actually having a debate on who will be the longest game-playing Kentuckian in the history of the show. And so Nick's bringing his resume to the table, and we shall see where Nick ranks in my rankings. So, but once again, real quick, for anyone that wasn't paying attention, it's the night before Thanksgiving. It's SurvivorTix.com, SurvivorTix.com. It's 25 general admission, 75 VIP. You get a buff and 8x10s, and you get the early meet and greet. And I tell stories. I mean, I got a cease and we were talking before we went on the air. I got a cease and desist from CBS for my podcast, and the stories that I tell during the meet and greet, I would get 100 more. I say a lot of things that I shouldn't, and I can tell you that the people that have done the VIP things are just like, wow, I did not know that so-and-so did that to so-and-so. And I say it.
Can I pay an extra $10 to get a fat head of my own face to put on my wall behind me? I really think that would elevate like the visuals.
You don't. I mean, you are so ridiculously beautiful that you see you're good. Just stop.
Can't have too many on the wall. That would just be.
Well, I mean, I would like to have your fat head behind me, but I don't think you need it. I think you're fine. What buff is that behind you?
Behind me, it's so the Adam Klein merge buff, and then the Takali buff from what is it? That one's from Millennials vs. Gen X as well. They're both from Millennials vs. Gen X. The one is signed by Adam Klein. He actually, because he won one of our bootless games the first year we did it, and then he went on the show. When he came on, he said, you guys gave me a buff, so now I'm going to give you both a buff, and he signed them and sent them to us. And
Sweet.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a good kid. He's a little more evil than the edit would let you believe.
Oh yeah.
But there's a reason him and I get along. I do. Let me get all the plugs out of the way. I do a Patreon version of my podcast. It's at patreon.com/Survivor NSFW, and we do a Castaway watch along, in which we're going back and watching old seasons, and we do a new episode each week, episodically, of course. And we're on Pearl Islands, and like the first week it was just me and Matt Bischoff. The second week we had Andrew Savage, my arch enemy, one of my arch enemies, and he basically spent an hour explaining to the world that I'm the greatest player ever, and that he's personally making a call to Jeff Probst to ask for me to be back on 40. I mean, it was mind blowing, the conversation. So, but we've talked about, like, so we're starting with Pearl Islands. Next we'll do Caramoan. I never watched Caramoan because I'm anti-Cochrane. I can't stand him. Yeah. So, and then after that, we're doing Africa. And I'm good friends with Lex and Big Tom and Ethan, and we're gonna kind of pull the curtain back on Ethan. Is I think he gets a similar edit to Adam Klein, in which just a super nice, and he's just evil as all get out. I don't think Adam Klein is evil as all get out, but as I said, there are some heel tendencies in there that I think that the camera was very kind to not show.
Yeah, I think Adam Klein is a little more multidimensional than we got on the show. We did get a very much like, here's my story. I'm a huge fan. You had the whole thing with his mom, and that was his story. And no, I mean that guy. There's a reason he won Survivor. I mean, he was
absolutely. You can't. Yeah, I mean, like on Pearl Islands, I believe Burton got the piece of paper from our season that like the production, camera guys and field producers and stuff, they had a cast sheet with our picture, and underneath, like Burton, it says All American. Rupert, pirate, Trish, the den mother. Like every person had their descriptor, and they're instructed, film them doing this. Like they don't want out of character stuff. So, because Burton played, once he came back, played just as deceptive a game as I did, but that wasn't on his sheet of paper. His sheet of paper said All American.
And what was yours?
Yeah, who are you?
I think it was a funny, mischievous, happy bad guy. I don't know. They had descriptors that were like, I had Shane Powers on my podcast this summer, and we were talking about, he appreciates my character on reality TV and Survivor, and he's just like, I'm a fun bad guy versus someone like Russell Hantz, who Shane Powers classifies as a real life sociopath.
Probably not too far off.
I don't think he is far off at all. Oh my God! I had Brandon Hantz at my house for a week, and he's a Hantz.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, you go back and you look at the old seasons, and you have Jerry, who was considered the original Black Widow. You have you, and if you actually look at what the villains in the early seasons were doing, Jerry doesn't really do anything that bad.
No.
Like nowadays,
Colby's the grumpy one.
Yeah, miserable one. You had the dead grandma lie, but aside from that, your confessionals were villainous. But you had the blow-ups with Sandra, and like the Rupert attack that one night was like, you were not the bad guy there.
I thought you were going to die.
Yeah, I thought you were about to have your head popped off.
I like probably a year before that, I was at a hotel bar in Baltimore. And I was talking with this wrestler, Mikey Whipwreck, and he was just like, "Hey, what'd you guys think of the show?" And I was just like, "It's pretty good." He's like, "What'd you think of my match?" I was like, "Good." Well, other than the fact that you're working with the least talented guy in the locker room, talking about this guy Van Hammer, who, if you go back and ask him, they're like, "That guy was the worst." Well, Mikey Whipwreck he was new to WCW, was trying to fit in and trying to score brownie points with some of the older regime. He runs to Chris Jericho. He's like, "This guy's talking smack about the boys." So Chris Jericho gets in my face and is ready to punch me. And they're just like, look at you, man. I'm just like, what is Stone Cold Steve Austin your fashion role model? I'm like, you got cut off jeans, shorts, and a fanny pack. Like, you should be embarrassed. You're at a bar. There's people here. Jean shorts, dude. Come on. And he was just like, I'm going to kill you. And he's ready. Like, it was just like that Rupert situation. We're nose to nose, face to face, and the guy's ready to kill me. And then out of nowhere, the Disco Inferno and Booker T grab me, carry me over their head out of the bar, and get me out of there. And
I'm so mad this wasn't a clip on like SummerSlam or something.
I wish. So, but fast forward to a year and a half later when they announced the cast, it like one of the first phone calls between wrestlers is Disco and Booker T calling Chris Jericho. They're like, remember that dude? He's on Survivor. And then me and Chris Jericho, I think we're friends. Like he has me blocked on Twitter as Chris Jericho, but he also runs.
I block my friends on Twitter.
Well, but he's also Fozzy. That's the name of his band. And I checked, like, I met the band, and I'm like, do you guys share that? And he's like, no, that's just Chris. And Fozzy follows me on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So
did he ever put you into the walls of Jericho? Did that ever happen?
He did not. He did not. Because like I would imagine that like if anyone like got into a fight, a real fight, and did that, like I would laugh at them.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just like, you're doing moves. Look at you, you're doing moves.
Yeah.
I'm just like, hey, can I do the claw next?
Yeah, exactly. It's funny that you say that though. Around that time was probably when I was like obsessed with Chris Jericho, and now that I'm picturing him at a bar in cutoff jean shorts and all that, maybe I shouldn't have been as obsessed with Chris Jericho.
The worst. I mean, like, so and me and Disco are still friends to this day, and Booker T, he was the trainer on the last USA version of Tough Enough, and in which my wife at the time, Michelle, was on there. So and Booker T was just like, I know your man. He's a mess.
I love it.
I was.
Well, well, and so we could probably dive into the power rankings, in a second here. But you being a huge wrestling fan like you are, we got Johnny Mundo on here this season.
Okay.
Now, yeah, so this is what I was going to ask you. Like, did you have any take on Johnny Mundo before him coming on here? And
okay, well, once you're asked to be on Survivor, you're not allowed to say anything to anyone because, you can't tell anybody that you're going out there or whatever. There's non-disclosures and all that stuff. So it would not have been right or even a possibility or could not have happened that in October we did an event together in Oklahoma, and he would not have mentioned that he was, going through the casting process. He would not have called me twice a week from then on until he left for David versus Goliath, in which he was asking me what seasons he needed to watch and who he needed to pattern his game after, so it wasn't like I would ever tell him, possibly, try to separate yourself from a showman's type situation, but possibly look for the big brother, little sister role in which Boston Rob did on Redemption Island, even though don't get me started about that. I feel as though he used bullying tactics and other things, but however, it's a strategy that worked, and so kudos to him for that. I just don't respect him in any way, but it's personal. I mean, it's just me. I mean, you guys can love him. I don't care. But I think he's a piece of crap on so many levels. I mean, like on All Stars. Him and Lex were best. A lot of people don't know this because you get people call Lex sour grapes and stuff. Lex and Boston Rob were best friends. They used to fly across the country every other week to hang out, to do stuff. They were boys. And so when Boston Rob comes to Lex, he's like, I need you to save Amber. And Lex was just like, dude, this completely destroys my game. And he was just like, I'm not asking game. This is boys. This is me and you. And he's like, okay, me and you, we're boys. Yes. And then and so he saves him, ruins what he's got going on, but saves Rob's chick. So then the next vote, they get together and he's just like, yo, and he's like, sorry, bro. And he was like, sorry, bro, what? I mean, like, I destroyed my game for you. He's just like, so it's the game. It's just like, but it wasn't the game 3 days ago. I mean, I just think that's crap. I mean, like, I think you're a crap person. I mean, if you can separate that, cool. But don't be my friend. You will never be my friend because I don't think you have the ethics or the morals of a friend. So you abused a friendship. So I think that's crap. And then on when the one he won, Redemption Island or whatever, he comes there and he's sitting there and Grant, the football player, thinks he's Rob's friend, and Rob is ridiculing him, and it's just like, this dude thinks he's my friend. I would never be. And I'm just like, oh, you're such an awesome person. And I love people going, you gotta respect the way Rob. Respect what? Respect the fact that he's a horrible person.
Yeah.
So and you're not allowed to. No one's allowed to talk unless my lieutenant. Like that is called bullying. I think it makes for a crap season, and B, you're a crap person.
So why couldn't we see?
No, we can't. We're not done here.
Yeah, fair play. That right there is why. Whatever the hell happened on Fans versus Favorites, all of that, whatever Jeff thinks happened, that's why he needed to throw that out the window and put you on Heroes Villains, because I wanted to see you on an island with Boston Rob. I mean, think about that. As Survivor fans, we're a little cheated. The fact that you weren't on All Stars, so we never got to see you play with Boston Rob there. Yeah. We didn't get to see you play with Boston Rob on Heroes Villains. Yep. And Rob is always considered like one of these huge villains, and they call him the greatest player of all time. I'm using air quotes.
I've heard it.
I firmly believe that. I don't believe that. But to never get to see you actually play with him when you're from the same era, you know what I mean? Like it sucks. It really does.
It's frustrating. But anyway, as I said, John Morrison would not be allowed to talk with me every 2 times a week for me to tell him to watch that season. Also watch Mike Holloway, because I do feel or felt, if I were to talk to him, but
which I didn't do.
Which I did not do. I'm just like, you have the potential to be the greatest individual immunity challenge monster ever in the history of the game when the parameters are right for those particular challenges.
Yeah.
Like I would not have been able to talk to Jessica Pete, who I met the year before at Hearts Reality, and introduce the two of them, because that would have been against the rules.
Exactly. So I'm glad you didn't do any of that.
Yeah, that would have been a problem.
But that would have been the first ever pregame alliance in the history of the show of strangers, but it wasn't. I have on my Patreon, I do a thing called Cruising with a Castaway. It's the cheesiest name ever, purposely. But it's like
comedians in cars getting coffee.
Pretty much. I'm steal the good stuff, honey. But it was me and Tanya Vance. I was just like, so the Cruising with the Castaway. I'll have it's me and a castaway, and I'm just like, tell me something no one knows about your season or about your. And so like when Brandon Hans talks about pooping himself. Kind of another shocker.
God, no.
But Tanya talks about when she was in casting for Thailand, her and Ken Stafford got on an elevator at the same time, and he slipped her his phone number.
Wow.
So they talked like every day prior to time. Like it didn't work out because but
Tanya got voted out winner.
And same with Jessica Pete and John Morrison. So
that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So go patreon.com/SurvivorSFW, and you can learn cool stuff like this from the survivors. So I'm just here to relay this information. I'm a vessel.
Exactly.
That's all I am. So no, John, as I said, if I would have been like, it's funny because like, some other wrestlers and we talked about it, and it's just like John's a quirky dude. I mean, like you think meathead wrestler, but he's a strange, like and I'm not saying this in a negative way. He's a very as I said, quirky is the word that most wrestlers use to describe him. And so when the season starts, it's just like I'm the mayor of Slamtown, Mr. Abraham Lincoln, all the wrestler speak. I'm like, I don't think it's going to take long for that crap to be stripped away from like you can't hide who you really are out there. And I honestly feel that, you know, with the Cyclones and all that we got to the core of these real of who these people really are a lot faster than we have in other seasons. And so when they had the tribe switch and the Brachachos are formed, the first thing John Morrison says is, "I'm kind of quirky." You know, like you know, you think me and Christian are totally different. We're kind of the same. I mean, we don't look the same, but and they are.
Yeah,
so.
That's really cool. Yeah,
that's true. Like it was only like the premiere when he really got into the like George Bushy of Tushy, Mayor Slantan, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And
well, that was productions telling that. So like it was like when they announced it was going to be David versus Goliath, I was like, yuck. Like, you know, I'm like,
so you didn't like that theme idea?
No, because I kind of saw through like Jeff Probst wants another Cochrane so bad it's killing him.
Mm-hmm.
And so here was his chance to make another Cochrane. And that guy's name is Christian. And you know, from all, like I've talked to, you know, many of the survivors and they're just like, he's the real deal. Like my problem with Cochrane, and I've said on my podcast a million times, is all right. So Cochrane goes out the first time, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know it was going to be hot. Like, you know, I'm getting sunburned," and I'm just like, "Okay, it's called a base tan. You're supposed to be smart if you know you're going to do like you make preparations as a smart person to not." Like, I mean, like you're part ginger. You know that they're
hard.
There's precautions that you can take on your end as a smart person.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, you know, the first time I'm just like, okay, I'll give you, I call BS, but I'll still give you a pass. Okay. Mm-hmm. But then he comes back. He's like, oh, woe is me. I can't. No, I'm just like, screw you. Yeah. You knew. Yeah. You played Survivor before. This isn't new.
It's true. And that was the second time when he got the insane sunburn when he literally couldn't even walk.
Oh, and his feet swelled. Yeah.
So I call B, like I can just like, I'm like, you're trying to, this is artificially created here. Like I hate like it's like a coach is one, like I love Coach. He's one of my friends, but I've had Coach on my podcast. I told him just like the first time I saw you, I loved you. I'm like, you were this douchebag that didn't know it. Like, you know, anyone that wears button-up shirts with dragons, you're a douchebag. Like, like you don't accidentally put that on. Like,
just fall out of your closet.
Yeah. But then he went back and like, you know, because he didn't understand, you know, like he was just being himself. So he goes back and he wanted to recreate that magic. And I was like, ugh, you know, him trying to be like that. It was an epic fail for me. And then he went and then he watched his show. He's like, ooh, this isn't good. And then he went back the third time. He's just like, I'm just going to be myself. And guess what? That guy is extremely lovable and did really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Made it all the way to the final.
But I felt that the premise of David versus Goliath was, you know, let's make another Cochrane. And in doing so, let's paint this picture that every David deserves your sympathy and you must like them all. And anyone that's on the Goliath tribe, they're basically successful at life, and we should hate them for being successful at life. Mm-hmm. But let's forget that in 2 episodes, and then let's like them all.
And that's what happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really did. It really did because.
Go ahead, Phil.
I was just going to say, because, you know, you're coming into this and you're already saying, well, David won in David versus Goliath. So you know that the premise alone is making you believe an underdog's going to win because that's what happened in the story.
I'm on the opposite side. I think the premise is we want to root for that to happen, but in real life, a Goliath should destroy a David.
Yeah, but what's happening here on this season, which I find very interesting, is if you look at the Goliaths who are still left, Mike White, like, he's successful, but you look at him, he's a David.
Oh, Allison. I mean,
Allison.
like, you know, we're gonna go through my rankings, you know, we're watching, I'm watching, you know, with fans and the other survivors Wednesday night in Durham, North Carolina. And, you know, and I quickly remark when they have the merge and the Goliaths go to talk about, you know, where they're at, Allison's not invited to that meeting.
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not one of those because she's a nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is. And she's the one who, at the beginning of the season, she was like, I don't want to be a Goliath. Like, I don't think I am, and I don't want to be. Like, she's the only one who was like, this is so clearly skewed towards emotionally or physically being a David. So I feel like it should be that way.
Yeah. So, but she's a total package, and we'll definitely get to that in the rankings here.
Well, let's jump into these rankings then, and I'll start it off because I think my number one here is somebody who didn't speak at all last week, but that's why I feel so confident they're not going home this week, and I think that this is just like a safe bet. I'm putting Davey at 1. He's got an idol. He's not in this group of 6 that involves Allison and Mike and Christian and Nick and all of them, but nobody's talking about Davey either. And I feel like now that Elizabeth's gone, they were saying we got to get rid of 2 Davids before we start picking off the Goliaths. I think if another David's going to go, Davey's just not going to be that guy. Like, they'll probably go for Carl, who seems a little more bitter or something like that. And Davey has the idols, so I don't see how they can get him. So I just feel really confident that he's going to be fine here.
I have Davey as my number 12. Absolutely next to go.
No way. Oh, that's great.
I think the Goliath Alliance, the Strike Force of 6 Alliance, they all have weaker Davids in their crosshairs. I think Davey is a much bigger physical threat than Carl, and I think that's your target. I can see Davey not necessarily thinking it's him or possibly someone throwing shade somewhere else, and he doesn't see it coming, and he leaves the game with the souvenir. So and as far as him not talking, I've been watching some of the secret scenes and bonus footage that they're putting out there. His confessionals are just awful, and I think that's why you're not there. They're just not good. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're not here.
Because they were pretty awesome earlier on.
They were, but like here recently, like on the secret, it's just like, ooh, that's bad. And I met like he's a super nice. He was in Hearts Reality with Nick and Jessica this summer, and he's a super nice guy. And he was a last minute replacement. And if rumor and innuendo are true, he was the replacement for Cerie's son.
Yep, you heard it from Jonny Fairplay, not from us.
Definitely did not hear that from us.
Well, that's why you don't.
But if rumor and innuendo are true,
I don't know. I mean, is that bad to say that?
I don't think. I feel like it's like, I wouldn't say it's common knowledge, but I think like we had heard that, it's assuming it possibly allegedly happened.
Yeah, we had heard rumors in the wind about that.
Yeah,
but,
kind of as if you had spoken to Johnny Nitro twice, but you didn't. So
twice a week.
Twice a week. Yeah.
So I asked Davey if I do know he was a last minute replacement. I asked him if he was Cerie's son's replacement, and he goes, I have no idea who I was replacing. Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't like they did the hot tag. He's like, all right, you're in. We're like Harlem Heat, man. One look out for another. Come on.
Cerie's son's running back out of the boat to get out of there. If it was Cerie's son, it's not shocking considering when he went out there in Game Changers, he was like, what the hell am I doing here? He like had
you see his eyes.
Yeah, he wanted no business with a leaf. So I'm not surprised that he was replaced at last second.
Well, my actual official guess was they loved the authentic popularity of Michael Yerger and Libby, and my assumption was they pulled him to do a Blood versus Water 3 sooner rather than later, and it would be Cerie and her son.
That's interesting. Interesting.
So that's just with no outside info whatsoever. I mean, that's just me going, if these two can become a couple, in real life and remain a couple, they're beautiful and they love casting beautiful. Mm-hmm. so that would be one. And it's just like, and they were just about to film, this, and they're just like, we'll use him, but we don't need him for this one.
Yeah.
I think you're onto something with the Blood versus Water 3, because I remember after Heroes, Healers, Hustlers, Devin said he would only come back if he could play with his mom. So like so many people are saying, oh, I would only do it if I could do it again with my loved one. So now there's like a whole
I've like everything they've asked me, they're like, hey, and I'm just like, never. Like I play an individual game. I mean, like my game is not suited for like I don't need you to ruin my game, and I don't need to be bound to you, and you definitely do not need to be bound to me. Like, it won't help you. I promise. I'm not there for any, like, you know, I have a girlfriend, I have a 10-year-old daughter, and I have a 17-month-old daughter. And that's who I'm playing the game for. So, like, you know, even if she's out there, my girlfriend's out there, I still don't see her helping my game. You know, I just, you know, I'm still evil. You know, like, you know, I go to church on Sundays. I go to Bible study on Mondays. You know, I was supposed to do some community service this morning, but
here we are.
Well, I had to prep for this. Well, you told me to make a list. If I didn't make a list, I could have built an orphanage or something.
Yeah, list is more important.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a pretty good list. I have David number 12.
I love that. We're like on complete opposite ends of the spectrum here. I mean, so are you saying that they still ask you though, as even though you're unauthorized, they still ask you to come back?
Hashtag unauthorized.
Hashtag unauthorized. Well, no, they all caps unauthorized as well.
Yes, exactly.
No, I mean they just send out feelers like, you know, what are you thinking? So I will say that I'm getting less phone calls than anyone. Like Russell's claiming that he got a call this week. I call BS. I don't think he did. And
wrong number call.
And I know like Sex Dr. Mike, he got like during Ghost Island, Wendell came to visit me. And like, you know, he was driving from Philadelphia to Atlanta, and you know, it's just like, hey, if you know, if you need a pit stop, you know, I'll make you and Hatch lunch or dinner, you know, whatever time wise, you know, just let me know. And he was like, dude, that'd be the cool. So he comes over and hangs out, you know, and we hang, and you know, and my girlfriend's like, well, he obviously doesn't win. I was like, why is that? She goes, because he wouldn't have stopped to see you. And I told him
definitely pre-merge.
And he's like, dude, you're the lad, you're Jonny Fairplay, of course, you know. And then and Sex Dr. Mike, he was just like,
you know that he thought you got a call like I did, and he just tried to make an alliance with you because he thought you got it, and he had known you got the call, he wouldn't have stopped there.
Oh my God, you do him so well.
I'm Sex Dr. Mike. Choo choo choo. My podcast is lasers. Choo choo choo.
so, yeah,
well, and just talking about
that's
that.
not true, okay? Because I'm just like, mother F. I'm like, Wendell, did you only see? He's just like, dude, like Sex Dr. Mike sucks. He's like, we love him, but you know, like, do not take anything he says seriously. Like, he's so out. I mean, like, I cannot. I like Joe Mena because I hate Sex Dr. Mike so much now. So, but I do like him as a person. Just as a player and comments like that, they're loathsome. So.
Yeah. And it's funny too, like here's Wendell who wins the game. And like I just feel like these new winners are never going to have like the pull of a Hatch or you like they're excited to go and do those types of things with you and Hatch. Cause like that's like I don't know, like that's still like an iconic, like that's from like the heyday of Survivor. You know what I mean?
Think so.
Like,
I mean, you know, I let them down when they meet me because I'm 5'8", 160 pounds. My first Survivor, I was 116 pounds.
Oh my gosh,
116 when I started, and then if you go back, I have more rewards enjoyed by a single person than anyone in the history of the show. Mm-hmm. So I lost 3 pounds total. Like most people, 20 and 40. So I started at 116. I finished at 113. So, but like I'm 160 now. I mean, like, you know, I run almost every day, and so I'm in great shape now. But like most of them are just like, you're the evil Jonny Fairplay that can do all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I got a fat head. It's me. And they're like, wow, how are you? I mean, because like Wendell's a big dude. Like everyone on Ghost Island was a giant. Like all of them, and loser Jacob was too, but I don't like Jacob.
Jacob's like sneakily very tall.
He is. He is. He's the worst. Oh, he's so horrible.
I never met Jacob.
So. I made a shirt for him, and he was not happy about it.
Didn't like the shirt.
It was like his face with Nacho Libre. And it says, "Will Jacob survive?" And just no public endorsement, no. And I'm just like, dude, you didn't get 15 minutes. Like you got like 15 seconds, And Jonny Fairplay, with the kindness of his heart and an olive branch, offered you a 16th second, and you insult him and slap him in the face. So no, he's dead to me. But if you would like a shirt, you can go to JonnyFairplay.com, and with every purchase, you get a phone call from me, Jonny Fairplay, thanking you for your T-shirt order. You can get one like this.
There you go.
Can you
I saw
put
Sandra's.
my and Phil's faces together on a shirt?
Can I? Well, I mean,
there's a thing 1 and thing 2 photo of us floating around the internet, which I think really needs to be broadcast.
I could make something happen. We'll chat. So I can. We have to figure out the royalty split, but let's see what we can do.
There you go. All right. Well, Alexa, who's your number one? Since we know.
Oh, you don't know my number one.
Well, we got your 12. Who's your number one? We can go either way. I
don't know. I mean, I think you just ruined it with such a horrible pick. I don't. So, do you want me to save? Like, am I going reverse order, or do you need my number one?
I want your number one because I'm going to be the tiebreaker between this whole Davey thing.
Okay. Allison is my number one.
Same here.
Bam.
Hell yeah.
So people tell me, like, I think I'm hated on Reddit. I don't know for sure, but I feel like Reddit doesn't like me.
Reddit is like a gigantic question mark.
Yeah, right. So, and I'm okay with, some people liking me, some people. I mean, I'm a bad guy. You're supposed to hate me, but please, subscribe to my podcast, join my Patreon, buy my T-shirts, but hate me, in that order. But like people, they're just like, Johnny knows spoilers. Johnny does not know spoilers, and Johnny hates spoilers. And here's something that I feel that's very valuable for anyone that might not listen to my podcast out of fear of spoilers. Okay, if I'm wrong on something, and if I guess something and I'm wrong and I sound like an idiot, that's a good podcast. Mm-hmm. Like you picking Davey. That's great.
Yeah. It's
a terrible decision.
But like if someone tells me what happens and I just say it, they're just like, okay. I mean, like I like Mertz Jaffer. Mertz would tell me, he's just like, I have successfully picked the boot order for like 10 seasons. I'm just like, yeah, you had a spoiler sheet. Mm-hmm. Like there's no, because like I remember I was at Tanya Vance's in Winston-Salem, and Mertz had come down from Canada, and we're watching like the second episode of a season. And the girl that got voted out didn't say a single word on the first episode and wasn't shown in the preview. And he was like, that's the person. And I'm just like, there's no way you know that. Mm-hmm. Like you can't get, like, there's no basis for making that pick. Mm-hmm. Like you're looking at a spoiler sheet. You're a loser. Yeah. I'm sorry. Like, it's not mathematically I mean, like it is, but it's not. I mean, the guy cheated. So like he's guessed every single correct one for 28 or whatever season. Like he did that just magically. He's just no. He looked at like he got a spoiler sheet. So I just think that, I mean, like I love watching the show, and if I know I don't like wrestling spoilers. I don't like Better Call Saul spoil. I don't I want to watch the show and enjoy the show. Yeah, that is so. Anyway, so for anyone that's just like Johnny, just like Johnny doesn't know, because once again, me being an idiot is a funny podcast. So I begin like I can tell you I know John, I know Jessica. I've talked to Lirsa through Facebook Messenger. I've met Allison. Nick's my friend. Hot Cop Dan ordered a shirt, so I called him. 30 minutes after the phone call, we have an alliance for 40. And I'm just like, how did that happen? So, but I met Allison for the first time. We chatted on Instagram, but we hadn't talked. And I was just like, wow, you're tall. And I was like, I don't know spoilers. I don't want to know spoilers. Awesome to meet you. That's how I begin every conversation with every survivor whose season is about to air or is airing, because I don't. So this, this is based on no knowledge, but I just meeting Allison. She's tall. Like I said, she's athletic. She's smart. I mean, she's a doctor. She knows Survivor. I mean, like, she was just like, this is so freaking cool. I'm meeting Jonny Fairplay, and I'm just like, I'm short. And I'm above the average.
Yeah.
So 5'8".
I think I'm your same height. So
I think we're all 5'8".
I love it. Wow.
I think Alexa's a little bit taller than me, but we don't have to.
I stand up straight. I'm like 5'8.5".
Yeah. So, but
I like a girl that stands up straight. Hey, I like a guy.
Love some good body.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but just all right. So just meeting her, like I appreciated her. I mean, because I've met some dullard survivors, and it's just like there's no way. Like you meet them, you're just like, I understand why they didn't do well, or it's just like there's no way they're gonna do well. Mm-hmm. And like Nick, when I first met Nick, he was like, I did a panic room with Nick and Big Tom, and Big Tom there's we were to say like you're supposed to like pull these like you do this combination thing, and then like doors move and open. Like I mean, this was like a nice panic room, and big and like they're over they're like the gentleman in the overalls. Please stop physically trying to get through the wall. They're like, yes, that does move, but not the way you're doing it. You know, he's like, Fairplay, we can just chisel. But Nick wasn't like he was this is not saying this in a bad way, a little on the meek side, because you know he's just like, oh my god, like Nick's heroes are me and Russell. Like he went out there to play a devious game, and Survivor said no. We're encompassing you as the person that you are, not the person that you want to be. So you're not a bad person. You might like the bad people, but you're not. And the game is not going to let you be that person because you're not that. So when I met, I could, you know, but like, you know, we've continued to talk, and like, as you see him gain confidence on the show, he's gaining confidence outside the show. And it's really cool. So like, you know, if you had asked me, you know, preseason, you know, or, whatever, you know, like how, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm like, I like him, but, and you know, and we'll find out where I have him now.
How much you like him?
We'll find out
next week.
Exactly. All right. Well, whoever wants to go, I have Allison at 2. So I was going to say whoever wants to go second, but I have Allison at 2. So I put Davey ahead of Allison, which of course made Fairplay jump out of his seat, but I do Allison at 2. So I'm on this Allison train here where she's starting to get an uptick in screen time. She's in the majority alliance, 6'6", but she's in the majority alliance.
She is all right. So I did notice this, and I called her. All right. So when the Goliaths meet on the beach and the merge to talk, you know, what's her, you know, what David are we going? Allison was not invited to that conversation. Mm-hmm. The first one, I think she's there, and I was just like, "Hey, did you forget? Did you not get your invite?" And she said that she walked to the beach as they were concluding, and she was like, "So, is there a discussion?" and they were like, "No, we were just talking." She was like, "Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I know."
So, but like, you know, on Pearl Islands, I found myself in a very similar situation, and what people don't understand is, people like Allison and me, and that's the people that dictate the game. So like on Pearl Islands on the Drake tribe, you had Burton and the Cool Kids, and you had Rupert and the Misfits. And they're just like, so what are you thinking, Jonny Fairplay? I'm like, I'm thinking that I decide who goes home, not you.
And it would have happened in fans versus favorites as well, probably, right? Weren't you kind of falling into that middle ground, or was that just something?
I was exactly. My first out was I was going to go Parvati first, but then I was going to circle back and join up with the people that I screwed over, and then Yowman would have been second, and then probably Penner third.
Penner gets no credit for how good he was playing that game because he got hurt.
No, he's an a-hole. I flew to Los Angeles to meet with Penner pregame to form pregame alliance, and we hit it off and everything was cool. And we got out there and he was the biggest a-hole I've ever met in my entire life. Like I was like, what do you think? He goes, I decide the game we play. So I was like, whoa.
Like, yes, sir.
You must not be familiar with Jonny Fairplay in the way he plays.
Yeah,
because I'm pretty sure we're not playing your game. So and then Yao Man, once again, I had a pregame alliance with him, and I'm just like, hey, yeah, man, what do you think? And he was just like, oh, I don't talk to people out here. And I'm like, what?
My God, he's so pure.
And he was like, he goes, this is work. I didn't come here to have fun. We talk after the game. And I'm just God. So I get to be in alliance with you the whole time and we never talk. He goes, yes. I was like, well, that sounds great.
That's the dream.
Talk to that coconut over there.
I was just like, I really need to make some apologies to Amy Kuzak and work that stuff out. Is where I need to be right now because this sucks.
Yeah. So. Did your head ever heal from him pushing you into the boat?
I didn't eat a sandwich for 8 months after all that.
Really?
I couldn't bite into a sandwich. So
I was going to ask why a sandwich, but I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah. So no, my front 4 teeth were knocked out 8 days before I left for Fans' favorite. Bonaducci flipped me over his head. So my front 4 teeth were knocked out. I had 4 root canals, and then my jaw was shattered. And then if you look at there's braces right there. Mm-hmm. See, there's clear braces, and my jaw's wired. And so once again, this is 8 days before I left to go out there. And then when Jeff goes, there's an idol, of course, idiot Jonny Fairplay sees the idol first. Don't need it, but I see it. And I go, and then Yao Man sees it, I see it, pushes my head, and that was game over. Like that, right? I was just like, I can't, I'm dying. So it's just like, well, on Survivor, if you're starving anyways, like what? And I'm just like, I can't, all we have to eat is coconut. That's all we have, or mussels. I can't bite to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, man's a bully. You heard it here first.
Yeah, it's true. He's a dirty bully too. I heard that.
Pushed a guy with mouth surgery.
All right.
Anyway. But there's people on the out, enough people on the outside, they can do the damage. And Allison is right there. And I mean, she wasn't a part of the initial Goliath conversation, but she was part of the later one. So I feel she's got 2 really strong, really number-filled alliances that can fuel her whichever way she wants to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of surprised that the Goliaths are trusting Alec right now at all to even invite him to these conversations, because him and Mike White and Allison, I feel like, would be the most obvious defectors, because Mike White voted out Natalie, and I know nobody liked Natalie, but it seems like him and, he voted twice with Nick. He decided to keep him around. So
I'm not I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but as far as the edit of the show has been, speaking with a current survivor, they said the edit across the board, every person has been, from what they've gathered from other conversations, possibly the most true and accurate edit of any season in quite some time, with the exception of one thing. Natalie was much worse. He was like, if you felt she got a horrible edit, it was like, that was nothing compared to, actually, I believe they said, if you think that was a bad edit, he was lying. But I'm not.
Who said this? Who could have said this?
Who was that? That was John, wasn't it? It was Mondo. It was
obviously
Mondo.
Chris.
It was Jessica Pete. That's who it was.
If she had more confessionals, you would say
you would have heard her accent.
That is spot on, Jessica Pete. I do have a Jessica's Peeps T-shirt available at JonnyFairplay.com. It's awesome. If you're a fan of Peeps or Jessica, which I'm a fan of both.
Do love both of those.
Yes, at JonnyFairplay.com, and you get and for the record, because on my podcast, I plug these, and then people order a shirt, and then I call you pretty much instantaneously. I get the email, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not doing it. And so I call and go, hey, you have great taste, and they're just like, this is Jonny Fair. You called, and I'm just like, yeah,
nope, sorry, hung up.
I was like, what did I say on the podcast? Well, you said if I order a t-shirt, I'm like, so why is this a surprise? They're like, I didn't think you really called. I'm just like, how crappy a marketing campaign is that? It's just like, hey, order a t-shirt, I call. It's just like, so did he call? No, he never called. That would be the worst. I want people to go on social media and it's just like, hey, I ordered a t-shirt. It's awesome. And Jonny Fairplay called me. Like that's the goal. Not I ordered a t-shirt, you never called. Don't order one.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the worst.
Like, what's the point? No, I love it. I love it.
It's tough being me, guys. I don't know.
Everybody thinks you're playing them still. Everybody thinks that you say this thing on your podcast and then you're going off and doing a confessional. You're talking shit about those idiots. Think I'm going to call them.
I thought we weren't allowed to use profanity.
What did I say? What was the word?
You just said the S word.
No, I said the F word.
It comes.
When we had Troyzan on here, he said the F word at least 35 times. So what?
But I got a cease and desist before I even got on here.
Hey, if it slips out, it slips out. We won't hold it against
it happens.
As I said, I have a 10-year-old and a 17-month-old, and they're beautiful, and they have very delicate ears. So I do everything possible to hold that in on a daily basis. So you guys are no different. So you two are
which one of us is the 17-month-old? Which one's the 10-year-old?
I like to pretend you're 17 and 364. And I'm meeting you tomorrow.
Alexa, you set yourself up for that.
I know. I really just lobbed that one over.
Yeah. So I do not want to meet you today. Tomorrow, I would like to be your new best friend.
All right, so I'm about to play tiebreaker here. Well, first I'm gonna finish up Allison because we've all talked about her. But what's awesome about Allison? You guys have already said everything. But she at Tribal Council. She was the one who said Angelina's gerrymanaging and then just like dropped the mic and slowly disappeared. And then everyone jumped in on her. No one talked to Allison again. So I think that says a lot about how she can like insert herself into a conversation, but not be the focal point. And I think Angelina was so like taken aback by that. And Allison was just like sitting pretty in the corner after that. So I think that was very telling. But what's more important is we have a Survivor player and we have Phil. Davy's number 1 and Davy's number 12. I have Davy at number 2.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I got Davy sitting at number 2. He is not going anywhere. Davy is fine.
Okay. So my number 2, Nick.
There you go. I figured. I mean, I have Nick pretty high up too. I don't have him that high, but I think Nick's in.
I do. I don't feel that he's in anyone's crosshairs. As I've said this on my podcast at Survivor NSFW, and you can catch that at SurvivorNSFW.com. I had Nick in my top 10 nicest survivors of all time ever.
Mm.
So that's huge. I mean, I got in the same deal. I got Lex is in there. Matt Bischoff is in there. Tanya Vance is a top 5. So this guy, Nick, I mean, if you had listened to my podcast, I got the cutest story in the world. I am at Hearts of Reality this summer, and I'm hanging out with Ricochet. He is the North American champion of NXT wrestling, which is the minor leagues of WWE. And so Ricochet and I are talking, and Nick walks up, and he's just like, "Hey, you're a wrestler?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "You know John Morrison?" And he was like, "Yeah, he's one of my best friends, actually." He was like, "You have his phone number?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Can you text him?" And he was like, "Sure, man. Like, what's your name?" He's like, "Nick." And he was like, "Okay, well, what do you want me to say?" He goes, "Oh gosh, I don't know." He was like, "Well, I mean, I just type it, you know." He's like, "Well, something more than hello, but less than I love you."
Don't want to be too desperate.
And Ricochet's looking at me and he's like, "Is this guy for real?" And I'm like, "Yep." So yeah, something more than hello, but less than I love. If you don't love that, you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's your guy. Like that. Like, I mean, he wanted to have a nickname for every single person out, like an alliance, like, because he loved it. So like that fueled him. He wanted that. He was just like, "Fairplay, you have no idea how much it hurt me not to give alliance names to some people because I just want to say it. But then if they exchange notes, it would be like, well, he calls me this." He's like, "So I couldn't do it, but it killed me, Fairplay. You have no, like, just it physically hurt me to not give alliance names to every single person out there."
We're robbed of so many alliance names now.
So, and I told him how it pained me to hear him say them, But I did come clean and fess up. Me and Burton referred to ourselves as the Legion of Doom on Pearl Island.
That is a great nickname.
And he goes, I love it. I'll see, you get it. You understand. And I'm like, shut up. I'm not going to talk about this again, Nick. Take that information to the grave.
Yeah.
I feel if you go back and look, like at the beginning of the season, Nick never put himself in a position to where in a tribal immunity, he would never be the reason for a loss personally. Like he kind of, he let B, jump out there or let Carl or whoever. And then once they did the tribe switch and he was on possibly the worst tribe in the history of tribes ever, he didn't have a choice. He had to step and he hung in there with Hot Cop Dan and John Morrison more times than not. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the perseverance of him as a person and everything that he's gone through in life. I think that carries him internally, like on some of these later challenges. If he's there, that he can hang. And I also feel he's got a great final jury speech.
Mm-hmm. Is this your winner pick right now? Like, would you say if you had to pick a winner today, would it be Nick?
I have Allison, Nick 1, 2.
Yeah, those are okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, because I mean, it's like I don't think at the time like Allison is a doctor. I think she's en route. So like I think that kind of works. It's just like, well, you're gonna have money.
Mm-hmm. But right now we don't.
Yeah, and then and Nick, Nick's a lawyer, but I mean, but Nick was on food stamps. His mom died from drug use. He lived in a trailer in the squalor. I mean, like this is legit. I mean, like if you can't embrace that story and and pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, you're associate. You're a Russell Hantz. You're there's something inside all good people that I think can appreciate someone like Nick. Yeah. So, and I don't think that's, I mean, like, they keep talking about how Christians, it's just like, he's the heart and soul of the Davis. I don't think that story's there with him. I think his story is there for us, the viewer, for that Cochrane nerd, I think the story of David versus Goliath is the story of Christian becoming a butterfly. And I'm cool with that, but that's not, I don't feel that's the winner for me. For me,
I agree with that.
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree with that. I think was it Wendell or Dom? Well, we had the two of them on as our last two guests, and I think one of them said that Christian, like, he just can't. It was Wendell. He's like, Christian can't get to the end. Like, nobody's going to sit next to Christian at the end. And then he's like, of course, that's what people said about me, because this is Wendell talking. But I think it's a different situation right now because there were more places for Wendell to kind of hide, and like he was more needed in his alliance to get to the Final Four. Yeah, but
big time.
Nope, like people with Christian, if you have a group of 6 and you get down to 10 people and it's 6-4 because that Strike Force alliance is the alliance, you can dump Christian there. Or you can wait till it's 6-3 and dump Christian.
Yeah,
There's plenty of times to dump Christian.
Christian's a lot lower on my list than you would imagine, based on I feel he is the absolute bottom rung of the Strike Force of 6 alliance.
Mm-hmm. I have him pretty low too.
Yep.
Yeah, I have him down further. I do have Nick at 3. I mean, look, I agree with pretty much everything you said, Fairplay, except I have Davey at 1 and you have Davey at 2. I feel like the rest of our power rankings are going to follow identically.
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem. I mean, like, I think that people that are good at confessionals, for the most part, are better at the game. And as I said, I thought Davey had some home runs early in the season, but I just think, I don't know if it's lack of food or but there's so many just amazing personalities. I just think he's a step below. And and maybe he's someone that creeps up there. I just personally don't see it. And if I'm the Goliath or if I'm Strike Force of 6, he is a physical threat that I'm going after sooner rather than later. And maybe that immunity idol saves him for 1 vote. Maybe it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear that. I think he's kind of getting that lost edit. Like his edits, his game's just going to kind of like end. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have much of a story going right now. He's a big fan. He finds an idol. He'll probably play that idol. And that's why I have him at 1 this week. I think he's going to play the idol successfully at some point, but then he'll go home and it'll kind of just be, it was kind of just like waiting for his moment. You know what I mean? Like it's a shame because I do think he has a good personality. He's just on a season with a lot of insanely good personalities.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the Davids within the Strike Force agreeing to 2 Davids going home before Goliaths go home? I feel like it's not as simple as David versus Goliath, but if I'm a David in the Strike Force, I'd be like, that's a little tough to commit to. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I would jump in on that if I were them, because it's just about getting rid of, like, the Strike Force of 6 is effective when it's not seen. So just play along to play along. I mean, like the obvious vote is these bottom hanging Davids. Like that's the obvious vote. So just keep that going, and it's just like, hey, nothing to see here. We're not a part of the greater of a greater scheme. We're just a part of, we're just waiting for our turn to go. Like, don't worry about it. Don't even look at us. And then when it's time, because if you do it too soon, there's too much time for another shift. Yep. So no, that is the right play.
Yeah, and I think that the reason it's working right now is because Nick and Mike are very close, and they know that. Allison and Gabby are very close, and they know that. Yep. And you have Christian, who comes in and is very close with Nick and with Gabby. And so there's a 5 that's really close. And then you have Alec, who might be the wild card, but you've seen Alec vote out one of his own to keep the Davids in the game, to keep Elizabeth and keep Davey in the game. And Carl is telling everybody that. So you've seen that Alec isn't completely in with these Goliaths who are going off and just talking amongst themselves as if the Davids don't even exist. So I think that's why you feel a little bit safer with this 6 than, maybe in Ghost Island, if we've been like, it's not just Navidi. Like, we'll just get rid of a couple of the Malolos, and then we swear we'll get rid of a Navidi. But like, who are you going to trust in that group, So I think that this one, it works out really well because the relationships are there.
Yep.
All right. So number 3s for either, whoever wants to jump.
Go ahead.
Angelina.
What? Oh my God.
I think Angelina on paper is by far, no contest, the greatest strategist playing this game at the beginning, middle, and still today. I think she got knocked down several pegs this past week, but that allows her to sit back, reflect, play nice, show that she's not a threat in any way, and then come back stronger later in the game. So I think what happened this past Wednesday night was the best thing that could have happened to her game.
I think you're right. I actually think you're right there. I think Dom said this too last week. He was like, all you need is 1 inches away from going home moment to like completely clear your head. Yep. And so I think
was Dom nice on your podcast?
He was.
Okay. I met him to see he wasn't nice to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I thought he was a New York jerk. So,
really?
Yeah. Very disappointed. Extremely disappointed.
Wow. Phil, I would say he was pretty nice. Right?
I met him in real life too. Him and his wife were both very nice. So
his wife wife seems nice, and I thought he was kind of nice on Twitter. And then I met him, and he was just an a-hole. So I mean, maybe he's having. I mean, I don't think you're doing a charity event for a bunch of kids, so you think you'd be in a good mood. So, but I kind of felt it was just towards me as well. So whatever. I mean, hey man, there's no rule that says you have to love me.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys should bond over your belief that Angelina is not going home this week. I think that could be really big for you.
Maybe I'm okay not being his friend. I mean, like I think it's okay if he happened. I don't consider him a legend by any stretch at all. So, but if he were to be out there and 40 was legends, I mean, like I like the fact that I want to not like everyone out there. So because the game's a lot easier. It's just like, remember when you were an a-hole in Florida? Well, see ya.
Yeah, exactly.
So, so versus, remember when you were in my wedding? Well, that sucked. Yeah, exactly. I'm no longer married, so that means you're screwed too.
The whole Lex and Ethan thing back in All Stars, like it's just gameplay, and then like you said with Boston Rob and Lex, and you have real life relationships getting in the way. You don't want that if you're playing for $1 million.
Well, the real life relationship between Ethan and Lex on All Stars was, dude, you won.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair. Fair.
So it was not a yes. There was no that was on the table prior to going out there. So, But I will give you guys a little teaser. I'll eventually get to All Stars on my Castaway watch along. During that first challenge when they had those big sticks on All Stars, Ethan purposely was aiming for Rudy's ankles.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my!
He's
God.
dirty, man. We're tight. I mean, because when I first did, they were like, you and Ethan are gonna be best friends. I'm like, I don't think so. And then I met him. I'm just like, whoa, you got one heck of an edit, buddy. He's like, right?
Secretly Brian Heideck in
worse
clothing.
worse. Other than
he doesn't kill puppies.
He does not kill
puppy
puppies.
shooting.
Minus puppy shooting, he is immensely worse. But I mean, he also has good quality. Much like myself. I do good things. I'm just a bad person.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You almost built an orphanage today, but instead.
Well, I mean, I got my list. That does not have Davey anywhere near the top.
to show where we're aligned here, I don't have Angelina at 12, but I have her at 11. So that just shows my vast gap here of Angelina. Because here's the thing with Angelina. Because the vote was 12-1, I agree that it was good for her to kind of get blown up on the spot like that and see that she's not in control and maybe take a step back. I do think she's a good strategist. I think that she needs to play a second time, though, to actually grasp what she was doing wrong, because now she's in too deep. But
I don't think she's in too deep. I mean, the fact that there was only one vote against her, and that was the person that went home. Like, they know that they're just like, hey, we got her right where we want her. She's no longer she won't be trying to cause trouble. We have deflated her so much that she is a non-factor, and I think that makes her twice as dangerous. Them thinking that.
But because it was a 12-1 vote, do you think that she even realizes that her name was being thrown around, or do you think that she's just
they were whispering. When people whisper at Tribal, that is bad. Like a player in the game and someone whispers, F that. Mm-hmm. No way, Jose. As a viewer, there's nothing I love more than whispering at Tribal Council. But as a player, if you whisper, I will stop whispers. I will say, hey, we've already talked.
Hey, quiet down over there.
Yeah, there's no reason for whispering. Nothing good can come from whispering.
I hear it. I get you.
I think, also, because I rewatched the episode this morning, and I think, apart from Dan, no one has a passionate distaste for her. And I think with Dan, I think that was just him being an absolute psychopath this episode. But John and Allison walked into the well, calmed her down. It was all good. They didn't have to do that. Nope. They could have just let her go be insane. And I think she realized the Tribal Council, she probably knew she wasn't going home, but you see her literally cowering. So
and I think John,
was a scare.
I think Allison is John's number one Angelina is John's number one ally out there as well.
They're pretty tight.
Well,
we've heard.
That's been absurd.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's crazy talk.
It's crazy.
Why are people saying it?
Alexa, who do you have at number 3?
Okay, well, I'm actually going to jump to my number 4 because I have Mike at number 3 and I have Nick at number 4. I think Mike's in a good spot, and this is similar to Allison and sort of with Alec too. They are in 2 alliances. They're in the overarching Goliath alliance, and they're also in the Strike Force alliance. And I think that's a really good spot to be in. I think Mike, I think it was Dom who said I was kind of crazy for having him this high up. I don't think Mike can win, but I think Mike is completely fine.
Mike's the final. I think Mike could inch his way into the final 3, no problem.
Yes, for sure. So I think Mike's fine. I think Nick's been really good. I know he's clearly itching to name everybody, which is so sad that he's not doing it. But I think Nick's fine. I think he had a quieter episode, but I think that's good for him because we saw so much of him early on, and I feel like he and Angelina are having opposing arcs. Nick came out super hot and he quieted down, and Angelina is just barreling.
Yeah, I have Mike White number 4.
Okay.
Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually put Gabby ahead of Mike. Maybe I'm a psycho, but I have Mike at 5. I'm a psycho, right?
She's a cry. I mean, well, on a personal level, I'm mad. Like I was saying good things about her every week on my podcast, and I've officially pulled back purposely. All right, so I had my party in Durham, North Carolina, and so she's moved to Northern Virginia. It's like a 4-hour drive, which, sounds like a lot, but, I had fans drive 7 hours to come, so, and, I'm not calling her a fan, but like this ride is if you're a survivor in 2018, it's not like it was in 2003, December 20th, she's no longer famous. I'm sorry. That's just how Survivor is in 2018. So enjoy this ride while you can, make the most of it. This ends. I'm sorry. This is over at some point, and that point is sooner rather than later. So it's just like, hey, come to my party. It'd be fun. I'd love to meet you. Blah blah blah. So she has a party a week previous, and she asks a fan that was at one of my at my Survivor premiere deal in Baltimore, and she was like, hey, I think it's kind of suspect that Jonny invited me to come to his party. Like, do you think that's shady or what? Okay, maybe you don't need to ask one of my fans if that's shady or suspect. How about the fact that Allison is on the flyer and is coming and that How about ask her if it's suspect or shady?
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, that's odd.
I just thought that was kind of crappy. I'm just like, you know what? Like, I liked you, but I don't now. I mean, like, I'm sorry.
Your Survivor edit killed you, John. It really, it's crazy because it's like this Survivor edit makes everybody think that you're trying to screw them somehow. Like it's so weird. Like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's like, because like I'm sitting here and like I'm talking to you and I'm like, this is just a guy who likes to talk about Survivor and likes to like
pretty real, pretty good.
Right.
I'm sorry. I mean, am I ruining this?
No. This is great, but it's funny that like people would even look. Think about it. Like if Rupert invites somebody to a Survivor event, are they going to? But what I'm saying is, would somebody whisper to? Well, I know, but would somebody whisper to somebody and say, do you think I should be? Do you think it's suspect that Rupert's doing? I think it's because I don't know. I think that there's just something with
like what would you do? What's suspect?
Like, yeah,
I mean, like Rupert and I we've gone to dinners before, and like it's great. Like people come and they're like, "Hey, I hate to bother you," and he's like, "Obviously you don't."
He totally seems like that guy.
America's favorite. He's just. I mean, you can't contain it. So, but at the same time, like. I embrace the role of the heel. I love being the bad guy. There's plenty of times where I've gone places and I hear, Jonny Fairplay, that's Jonny. And they don't bother me because I'm the bad guy. And that's great. The people that love bad guys, they do. But I used to think I was going crazy, and a lot of times it was drugs. And I don't know if you guys. I've been sober for 2 years, and I just don't do drugs because they're stupid. So, but I used to. But I hear that, and it's because I'm the bad guy. They don't bother you as much. Whereas someone like a Rupert, they don't stop bothering you. It's hey, like, it's just like, sorry, Rupert, you signed up to be the good guy. Your entire life is changed forever. And you chose to forsake privacy for $1 million.
Yeah.
So, sure. and I feel bad, but at the same time, it's just like, you chose that.
Yeah.
So you might not have known what you chose, but you did.
Yeah,
so you made moves. I mean, because he was an a-hole too. I mean, like, if you think, I think Dominic's an a-hole. I think Rupert's an a-hole. Like Rupert, my island, my sphere, my adventure, it's just like, dude, there's 15 others out here. Mm-hmm. This is our.
Yeah,
but well, I mean, it's more mine if you actually look. I was the narrator.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I always think that's interesting. I rewatched Pearl Islands. I did this whole thing where I talked about the best pre-merge casts in Survivor history, and I rewatched Pearl Islands because I didn't remember much of your pre-merge cast because I hadn't seen the season in a while.
Sure.
And I rewatched it. As I'm rewatching it, that scene at night where Rupert looks like he's about to pick you up by your neck, throw you into the ocean, and let you
I was actually trying to bait him into punching me. I'm just like, I'll get you out of here one way or another. I can take a punch. I mean, I've had my ass kicked so. Yeah, no clue. Like I've only won I've won one fight in my entire, like one real fight ever. Like I remember like 3rd grade, this girl that was like a foot taller than me. Not only did she beat my ass, she pushed, like it was like we had just got off the school bus. She beat my ass. It was snow on the ground, and then she just kept. She grabbed me by the back of the head and just pushing my face there's just blood and snow of this girl. And so I go home and I'm just like, I got beat up. And so my son is like, where is he? And I was like, her name is Tiffany. You're just laughing. Like, her name is Tiffany.
Yeah, I love it. But what I was going to say is, after that, he's still considered like the biggest hero of all time up to that point. Yeah, he really almost killed you. He wanted to kill you.
So it's crazy. So like after Survivor, like, you know, we have mutual events that we're at for like 2 years after Survivor, and you know, and I'm just like, you know, game's over. You know, let's be friends. You know, like I'm like, you get high, I get high. You know, let's get high. Like, you know, let's smoke your weed. And he was just like, and like fine. It was like 2.5, 3 years later. You know, he was just like, I guess we could be friends. And I was just like, listen here, you dumb MF. If they didn't hate me, they wouldn't have loved you. Yeah. Like, you need to say thank you, and I need to say you're welcome, and then I owe you a thank you, and you give me a you're welcome. Because if they didn't love you, they wouldn't have hated me.
Yep. It's true, though. It's true.
I mean, it's a yin-yang that should be embraced. I mean, like, as I said, we're not playing the game anymore. Like, game's over. Like, you know, like when we leave this bar, Jeff Probst ain't sitting there with a snuffer.
It's just going home. My God, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, but no, it legit took 2.5, 3 years for this idiot to figure that out.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I can see that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll jump back to the power rankings. I'm sure we'll go off on another tangent about Rupert.
Yes, Matt Bishop does a much better job of containing me. So
we let you go. We just let you go. Whatever. Hey, you know what? That's why we want zero. That's why we want you on. You know, that's why it's amazing to have you on here. It's just so that you can just tell us whatever you got to say.
I will say this: when if you went back and watched Pro Islands, so I do the weekly. You know, I drop a new one. I think they drop every Monday. We do a new episode, and so when I throw the challenge to get rid of Burton, like the first immunity loss or the first reward or immunity loss by Drake, I get rid of Burton. When the two tribes come back together, they say they're like, hey, if any, they don't show it on the episode. They're like, if they ask Rupert if he wants to stay with the Morgans or if he wants to go back to the Drake. He goes, I'm going home. Yeah. So he's an idiot because I'm just like, and I will send you home shortly. But but at that same time, Jeff also says, okay, if any Morgans want to go to Drake or if any Drakes want to go to Morgans, Andrew, you're the leader of the Morgan tribe. What would you say to them? And Andrew goes, any Drake that comes over here, we will send you home immediately. And he is like, okay, Fairplay, the leader of the Drake tribe.
Love it.
Sorry, folks. It was not your precious Rupert. It sure as heck wasn't Sandra, who never played the game. It was yours truly, Jonny Fairplay, the leader of the Drake tribe. Like, Johnny, what would you say to any Morgan that wants to come? I'm just like, the more the merrier. Come on. You know, like you are a part of this tribe if you come over. And what I should have said, and it burns me to this very day, I should have said, let's force the merge. If you all come over, we have forced individual. There's no outcast twist. There's not. We control the game. If we force the merge right there.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been what would they have done with that Outcast twist that ended up destroying?
Saved it for another season for people to complain about then.
Yeah, exactly.
What's your take on the Outcast twist? I want to hear this.
I sat there as like the entire time, like I had never seen Survivor before I was cast. So I'm power watching to learn the game. Like, you know, every season I'm just like, okay. And, you know, and Lynn Smith, she's like, what do you think? I'm like, I think I like Real World better. I think it's boring. So, you know, so I brought in elements of the Real World too. Like, you know, I made everything, I kept everything at a more agitated state. Across during challenges, during camp life, everything. I wanted more emotional and more raw to create a better show. I'm trying to entertain myself here, and so, you know, so I'm each day I'm just like, okay, what can I do to create this? What can I? And so, you know, that has nothing to do with me. So with the Outcast twist, when they come out, I'm just like, I'm smiling so big. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, this is going to be a moment. I'm like, viewers are going to see this and they're just going to be like, wow, this is so cool. I mean, like, you know, a lot of them didn't, but it was still a moment, love it or hate it. It was still a moment. And so we're sitting there and they're like, okay, we'll give you time to strategize. And I hear Andrew giving his pep talk to the Morgans. He goes, you know, we got to kill, they don't deserve to be here, blah, blah, blah. And then Rupert's like, we are going to beat them. And I'm just like, no, we're not.
Yeah.
And he was like, what are you saying? And I'm just like, we're not winning. I'm like, Burton is a machine. I sent home the biggest threat in this game. I did. I sent that monster out of here. You said thank you when I did it for a reason, because I am smart. That dude not only is the same monster he was when he left, he's mad. Yeah. He's now mad.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I'm like, you're an idiot if you think that you're going to beat him. You ain't beating him at nothing. Like, the challenge could have been name all of Rupert's relatives. Burton would have been like, I spent 12 days learning your relatives.
I love it. Well, back to me defending Gabby. Which is
real quick, I wish I were still good at confessionals. If they were only.
So what sparked all this was that I put Gabby at number 4, which made you go, what the hell? But the reason I have Gabby at 4 is because I think that if her name comes up, the other 5 in the Strike Force are going to try to save her because they don't have another 6th that they can kind of bring into this group. And I think Allison feels close with Gabby, and maybe it's not her closest ally. Maybe it is. I don't really know because we didn't see too much of Allison.
I think it is. I mean, I had there's a fan that's been sending me her audition videos. Like, you know, I'm trying to help her, you know, get on the show. And she was actually at Gabby's party Wednesday night, and so she FaceTimed me. And I had Allison with me, and and like there was a bond between the two of them. They both painted the tribe flag together. That was Gabby and Allison's artwork.
Gotcha.
So there is a real bond there.
So I think that's what will end up happening is if we think Allison is this high up, we think Nick is this high up. You know, I think you start to realize, like, okay, if Gabby's name comes up, Allison's going to try to make sure that doesn't happen. And Alec, who's been very vocal, probably tries to make sure that doesn't happen, which would probably put Alec in the spotlight more than Gabby. Yeah. So I think right now Gabby's fine. Gabby was my preseason winner pick. I still think Gabby can win this game, but I think that right now she's a longer shot than.
I think her final jury speech is on the. It will probably, if it's there, I think it's on the weaker side of anyone she's against.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I
mean, I'm not giving, like, I mean, how old is she's like 20, 21. Like, I'm not giving money to a 20. Like, it's just like, hey, like, you ain't got a bill yet, girl. I'm sorry. Like, you know, I got college, car. Yeah. I mean, like, you don't know life. Like, as happy, I got a fat head behind me. I'm still miserable. I promise. I look. There's an app on my phone that says my money. I had a great night Wednesday night. I still got no money.
Exactly.
It's a weird group. Like, now that we're talking it out, like, we have a doctor, we have a lawyer, we have a professional wrestler, we have a screenwriter, all people who I don't know how much money they have, but are perceived to have a lot of money.
John Morrison has done very well. Mike White has done very well, and doctors and lawyers typically do very well. Unless they're bad. I mean, I haven't read the paper. It's just like, well, Allison will accidentally cut off a finger, but otherwise she's great.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you have Kara, who I think is a very successful realtor.
We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, TV.
We just know that she's a realtor.
I'm
a realtor.
So like so we have these people with professions that are perceived as very rich professions. And so normally no one wants to take people like that to the end, but there's so many of them. And then all of a sudden you have Gabby,
who's a technical writer, Christian,
exactly
who's
like Carl and Elizabeth are the two, like Carl, Elizabeth, and like Nick, I feel like have the best like quote unquote stories.
Yeah.
So I guess it's weird.
I think a lawyer in Kentucky is a low, I know lawyers. I live in Danville, Virginia, and I know lawyers that for here do really good, and then you compare them to a lawyer anywhere else in the world. For the most part, it's just like that's not that great.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and I would imagine, because I think he's in Dalton, Kentucky. Or Danville, Kentucky. I knew it was something related to me. So I live in Danville, Virginia. He's in Danville, Kentucky. So
yeah.
Have you seen his girlfriend?
Not.
No.
Oh man, he outkicked his coverage. Actually, she looks similar to you. I mean, she's very beautiful.
Coverage.
Big time.
Yeah, I wanted to ask.
Her name is Griselle. She's exotic and beautiful. So yeah.
Well, here's something I wanted to ask you when you were talking about this, when you were talking about how you were like, come on, everybody come over, we'll have a big party. Was that mainly because you were looking at the other tribe and you saw like Tijuana and Dara and you were like, come on, guys, like, come hang out on this tribe? Like, is that what's going on?
No, just strategy wise, like I thought Savage played a horrific game on Pro Islands. And I just thought strategy wise, just like, give me more people to send home.
Yeah.
Like, that was, I mean, like why? Like, cause, Michelle and Sean were like, Rupert is an idiot, and Rupert told them flat out, goes, you two are the next two to go. No matter what you do, you cannot save yourself. You are the next two to go. And then Andrew Savage goes, you come here, I'm sending you home.
Yeah.
How is that beneficial in any way? So, I mean, and and then whenever I had the opportunity to talk to Andy Morgan, I was just like, so what's you guys' tribe dynamic? And they're like what? I'm just like, so what's deal with Andrew? And they're like, well, he's the lawyer for Jerry Springer. He lives in a really, really big house in Chicago, and he just bought his wife a brand new Jaguar before he came out here. And I'm like, nice. And he's still in the game?
Yeah, exactly.
What? He told you this, and he's still in the game. And they're like, what do you do? I'm like, nothing. I got I got bills. I just got bills. I'm 31 years old. I got bills.
I love it. I love it.
But then, they're just like, I was like, but I used to be Roddy Piper's personal assistant, and I got stories. So you want to keep me around for the stories. Yeah. I'll tell you some good. And I did. I was, like what a lot of people don't know is the only person that really said they hated me out there or that the others hated me, it was me. The only person they said they loved that we loved Rupert was Rupert. Rupert goes, I'm the provider. They love me. Do we? And then there's me. They're like, I'm the bad guy. They hate me. I'm the only one saying, I mean, Sandra and I had our tip. We hung out. We were fine. So, they'd interview her after I agitated her, I would too if you're trying to, perpetuate the story. The only person telling you, the viewer, that I'm a bad guy is me, purposely, because I wanted to be the biggest bad guy in the history of television. So not just Survivor.
You did a pretty good job of it.
Yeah. Well, no one had ever done it. Like every person that was a bad guy before me, they're like, I got a bad edit. I'm like, well, you said that stuff. So
you still said it.
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, I always go back to the scene of you, Lil, and Sandra sitting around, and you're ordering for them, and you're like pouring the drinks for them, or whatever you're doing.
Dara.
I'm sorry.
No one ever took Sandra on a reward.
No, that's right. I'm sorry.
Because yes, I do state this on episode 1 of the Watch Long Cast Long on patreon.com/SurvivorNSFW. I consider Sandra one of the worst players of all time, and I'll tell her to her face. It's not a secret. However, I consider the game of Survivor 65% luck, and I consider the luckiest player in the history of Survivor ever.
Yeah.
So, but I think you go back and watch Pro Islands, the two worst players on that season, and possibly two of the worst players ever to play Survivor are Lil and Sandra Diaz-Twine. I'm sorry. They are. And I took them to the end.
Well, if you look at that final four, it's Sandra, Lil, Dara, and you.
Yeah,
and then
Mushmouth Dara, who I should have kept instead of Lil.
And then Burton's number 5. Like, you probably beat any of them. And this is something, and I'm not saying I like Sandra a lot, and I'll say that to your face and have you yell at me, but no,
I'm not yelling at you. I mean, like,
no, I'm just kidding.
I'm just saying, player-wise, she's not good.
Well, this is what I was gonna say. Nobody remembered Sandra after Pearl Islands. Nobody was saying Sandra's the greatest player of all time. She needs to come back and play again. It was after she won Heroes Villains that all of a sudden it was she's won twice. She's the queen, all of that. But after Pearl Islands, she was probably, other than Jenna Maraska, the most forgotten of the pre-All-Stars winners. Like, people remembered Brian Heide because he stayed in the spotlight after with the killing of a puppy. And then you had Hatch, who obviously
it was justified killing it.
Yeah.
The puppy was being too loud.
Do not quote me on that. I'm kidding. No, he's a bad person.
I know so little about this story, and I think that's what's like. Everyone just knows he shot a puppy. Like, past that, what happened?
He's claiming I heard a story from someone the wife told it to, and basically, like, the neighbor's dogs kept coming in his yard and you know, bringing trash and all that, and he was just like, keep your dogs out of my yard, keep your dogs out of my yard, keep your dogs out of my yard, and they barked nonstop. They were, you know, the next door neighbors were bad pet owners, and you know, you still can't shoot him with a bow and arrow.
Yeah, I mean,
but he was just like, you know, he's just like, I just, you know, like, it was a bad decision. You know, I wish I could take it back. I should never have done it, you know, and you know, and no apologies can take that back. However, I hit my limit. You know, as like, you just, you know, you sometimes you just gotta
hit that limit. The puppy.
You got so once again, I'm not saying you're not taking that soundbite from the
I won't do it.
You know, listen to our in case you missed our podcast. Jonny Fairplay says murder puppies.
Yeah, where's puppy murder?
Do you guys listen to Up and Vanished podcast?
No.
Okay, so season 2 of Up and Vanished, there's this missing girl, and it looks like this guy named Catfish did it. So he actually calls the host of the show. He's just like, "Hey man, you telling people that you're insinuating that I did." And the guy's like, "Hey man, I'm just stating facts." And he comes there and he's just like, well, I have a Facebook message from this other guy that said it. And he goes, "Well, what did the Facebook message say?" And he goes, Brandon did it. And he goes, he wrote Brandon did it, and he goes, "No, but you ain't gonna get me saying those words together and using it." You know, if I were to use the word in something unrelated.
Yeah, that guy's good. That's smart.
Yeah. And the guy's like, "Well, I'm not." And he's like, "You ain't tricking me, boy."
I like that.
Like, okay. It's like I was in tears. I mean, like, I really think this guy's a murderer, but I'm in tears laughing at it. He says, like, no tricks here, boy. You ain't. I'm smart. You're not as smart as me.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Smart as you.
That's insane.
So yes, you're not getting me to endorse any puppy killing on this podcast.
We don't need.
Damn it.
We have really good sound bites. We don't need that one.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We'll deal without that one.
But clip in Dominic saying it. I'm all for it. Or Gabby.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we'll have to do. We'll get the voice modifier. You know.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go. All right, who's everybody got at 5? We're only at 5 here. You know.
Oh my god.
I apologize to. I will say on Survivor NSFW, I am the king of a 40-minute podcast. If you got 40 in and out, I mean, like, I like it like sex.
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Well, no,
speaking about sound bites.
It's just for me. It's basically what I'm saying.
We had Troy Zan go almost 3 hours the one time.
That's crazy.
That was a lot.
So I'll tell you what, like, we just go however long it takes. I mean, this is great. So we're not gonna be like, Jonny, you need to stop talking. Okay. That's never gonna happen.
Number 4, I had Mike White. Number 5, Hot Cop Dan.
He got pretty high up.
Yeah.
He's got 2 idols.
Yeah.
I get
that is
it.
true.
I have him at 6 because he's as much as like I think he's a huge threat, even though he's like, I don't know why people want to get rid of me. Like, are you kidding me? Of course we want to get rid of you. You're like a poster child for the merge.
Well, honestly, I think on paper and aesthetically, John Morrison should be more of a threat than Hot Cop Dan. However, I think in those tribal immunity challenges that Dan pushed himself to the forefront as a bigger challenge threat than John. So it's just like, yeah, that's why, like, sometimes you get like, that's why Nick was smart. It's just like, hey, I'm never putting myself in that position unless I have to. On Pro Islands, there was, like Jeff is just like, and Jonny Fairplay in last, Jonny Fairplay, not do, whatever. There was the keel haul challenge where we had to go underneath the thing underwater. And the final round is Burton, Rupert, and me. And I think that might have been the final, whatever. And the final round starts and, I stop halfway through. And, Jeff's like, and Jonny Fairplay out. And I'm just like, look, dude, I just wanted to show that I can sit at the big boys table. That's it, man. I'm just like, you talk your smack and all that. I'm sitting here for a reason. I'm good.
Yeah.
So screw you.
Yeah. Alexa, who's your 5?
I have Alec at number 5.
Ooh.
I know. Trying to take everything else away. I think Alec is... does he go to the end at this point? I can't take anything outside of the game into factor here. I
have to. I can't imagine he's in a fight I can't, as a producer of the show, have he's not banned from the finale if he's in the final 3.
Yeah, you're completely right. But
and I hate him. I hate him for that. I mean, like you listen to my podcast, I F him repeatedly because you have ruined a part of the season for me. You think it's just like, hey, does Jonny Fairplay know spoilers? No, Jonny Fairplay doesn't know spoilers. This guy, he's spoiling things because there's no ways in the final 3.
Well, and also, why didn't the producers just not announce that he was banned from the finale? Like, they didn't announce Stephanie Johnson
because it's 2018 and everybody has to be punished for something.
It's so annoying because if they don't announce that he's banned, then we have no idea if he makes fun of it or not.
Yeah, and we're sitting there
doesn't happen.
We're having the conversations just like, man, does he make it to the end, and what kind of edit does he get at the live show?
Yeah,
like do they not let him talk at the live show?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also they don't talk to people at the live show anyway. So again, you could have been there. And Phil and I talk about this all the time, but what's the precedent? What did Alec do that was different from what everyone else does? So I don't know. But in the context of the game,
I felt as far as Alec and what he did versus what I consider him one of the most selfish people to ever play the game of Survivor. You couldn't. I mean, that same picture can be posted 4 weeks later.
Yeah.
And it means and not there's no NDA violation. There's not that's ego and just selfish. The word is selfish. There is nothing more selfish than you ruined something for people for we don't care. Okay, are you in love? Great. Then still be in love in 4 weeks and show me that picture then.
Yeah, exactly.
If you love her, there's no reason she's not going to love you in 4 weeks.
Are they even dating? Everyone talks about them dating, but I'm like, there was one picture and now it's gone for the rest of eternity.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and I'm sitting here watching, I'm just like, okay, she's still with Dan. She's still with Dan. She's still with Dan. She's still with Dan. Oh, and the only interaction we've seen, he kind of screwed up her game.
Yeah, exactly. That's
only kind of
Natalia.
But other than that, I can see them together.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, I'm not gonna lie, I love Alec on this season. Watching him,
I do too. I think he's great. Fun. I think he's reckless. I can't work with a reckless player. So
it's great TV.
Yeah, he's good TV, and I feel that he's making the show exciting for me as a viewer, and I appreciate that. Me as a player, gonzo. See ya, buddy. You are not a part. Because you'll just ruin my game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I hear that.
So anyways, who do you guys have at number 5?
Well, we both did. He did Dan. I had Mike. Well, since we're talking about Alec there, I have 6. I have Kara, actually. And, like Jonny Fairplay just said, like, there's no interaction between her and Alec right now. So I don't feel like – and because she didn't post it and because she's not banned, I feel like she has more time to last in this game. And also – if anybody's going to gun for a Goliath, they're going to gun for an Angelina. They'll gun for Dan. Maybe they gun, because they know Dan has an idol, so maybe they try to flush the idol without him knowing. They might gun for maybe Johnny Mundo, but I still don't buy it yet. I don't think they gun for him yet. But there's other people to gun for before gunning for Kara, and I just feel like she's okay right now.
I think Kara's fine. Kara's in a great spot.
Yeah, well, at number 6, I have John Morrison.
Okay.
So
I'm at 7, so not far off.
Yeah, I have Kara K at 9.
Okay,
because I just don't feel that I don't feel she's. I feel like when they start picking away the Goliaths, that she's kind of on the outside looking in. Like I have Alec at 10. I think when they start picking away Goliaths, he's first to go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I see Kara K as like I see Alec going and then her stupidly saying, it's just like, oh, so we're going after us now. It's like, well, we are now.
yeah, exactly.
Like I see her jumping into that position for no reason. Like, once again, I don't think they're together, and maybe this is what drives them together in real life. So, but like I think she's definitely. And she's not. I don't feel she's a decision maker of any kind.
Mm-hmm. And in a really in an alternate universe, or maybe in the universe that happens, I like to think that Kara or Alec gets voted out, then Kara gets voted out. Dan goes to the final 3. While at Ponderosa, Kara and Alec start hooking up, and then Dan finds out while he's sitting in the final 3 that's going on. And
he sees them holding hands.
Yeah, that blows up his whole
like his final speech is like, and you know what? F you.
Oh, that's it.
I knew I should have liked Gabby.
That's what I want. I'm all in on that.
That is the best fan fiction ever.
I think there's nothing more that I hate than Survivor fan fiction, because it's called listening to the other podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, but I agree with you. I have Alec at 10 as well, so jumping a little bit ahead. But I have him at 10 as well because I feel like he's the most expendable of the Strike Force. That's why. Like, if somehow word gets out about that group, then Alec, I feel like, is the one that nobody in that group really feels like, oh, we need him. Like, everybody else is close with somebody else, and then he's kind of just at that table. Like, he's just there as a number.
I assume that he digs his own grave at some point.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I think he's in the Strike Force, but he does something stupid, and they catch him doing something stupid, and they're just like, dude, and he's just like, dude, I'm cool, man. I'm just, doing stuff. And they're just like, you know what? Strike Force with 5 works pretty good too.
Yeah, exactly. Because at some point you don't need him anymore.
I hope and this isn't like how I feel about him personally. I just hope that the way he goes out is in like this fiery ball of fury, because then it would like even slightly, justify is really the wrong word, but like it would just make sense like why he did this in the first place.
Yeah.
But like I want it to be the hottest mess when he goes home.
Well, I reached out to him because I didn't expect to get this much Alec this far into the season. Mm-hmm. So I reached out to him early, and I was just like, hey, can you send me a picture and I'll do like a purple filter on top of it? And no reply.
I think he's smart enough. I follow him on Instagram, and the only thing he posts on Instagram are just like majestic beach photos with positive.
I would imagine that we would get along. As I said, I'm just mad at him at like I love Survivor. I mean, like it changed my life. Like, the reason my life is as great as it is because of Survivor, and I consider what he did a slap in the face to something I love. So, but no, I mean, like, do I think, I'll say that I'm mad at him, and then, I'll have a ginger beer and he'll have many real beers and we'll be friends, probably. So, but I as of right now, I don't forgive him for doing that. And I feel I'm entitled to feel that way.
I think that's fair.
I think that's a very normal way to feel.
I agree. Yeah. All right. So yeah, I have John at 7. I think John's fine. I don't really see him going home this week. I think that he'll last a little bit longer. He's somehow shockingly unthreatening to almost everybody else.
Shockingly silent.
Yeah. He's pretty.
Well, he's got his carbs and his I don't like his gains.
100,000 calories.
Yeah, his gain. I love it when people I just learned what a carb was 4 months ago. I'm 44 years old and I'm just like, huh? What? I eat steak. Yeah, is that a carb? Is carb a steak?
Is carb a steak?
It's carb a steak. There's your soundbite. The brilliant Jonny Fairplay asked, "Is carb a steak?"
Yeah, when I post this on Reddit, that's gonna be I'm writing this down.
Thank you. So, but no, I think I enjoy. Well, I know I think I hate listening to super in shape. Has anyone ever been more in shape than John Morrison in the history of Survivor?
Maybe James.
Yeah.
No. Oh, have you seen John Morrison's parkour stuff?
Oh no, I haven't seen
not.
That.
Yeah, he does parkour
Would love to see that.
I bet. I would love to
research.
I would love to see you do parkour. not well.
I can assure you it would be horrifying.
You can leave at any time, Phil.
Yeah, viewers of the podcast.
Finish this.
Yeah, well, good talk, everyone.
All right, so Alexa, who do you have at 7? Where are you at?
I'm gonna do 7 and 8. I have Dan at number 7. I have John at number 8. I have Dan low. I think you're right. Like, he has 2 idols, so realistically, he's never going home. I think he's gonna be the one who gets the nullifier, and I don't know when that's gonna happen. It just is probably gonna be him. But the thing
I hate idols, by the way. Do you guys like idols?
They're better this season than they've been.
This season they've been really good.
This has been better, I think. But still, I'm a pure because Brandon Hans, stayed in my house all week. He comes there, just like, so you a big idol guy? And I'm just like,
wow, you guys really ran out of conversation topics.
Do not get I have a Q&A that hit yesterday on my Patreon site of just a fan talking about Brandon at my party.
Oh God.
It is insane. So he explained to every person there that they were stupid for watching Survivor, liking Survivor, being a fan. You're stupid. While
attending a Survivor event, of course.
Oh, obviously. And then the quietest guy there, who came with a group of 4 people, that they bought his ticket because his girlfriend wanted to be there, but he's just there quietly minding his own business. Brandon goes, do you know who I am? And the guy was like, no, I don't watch Survivor. I'm just here with my friends, And he goes, you will respect me. You need to know who. And I'm just like, wait a second. Wait, this should be your best friend here.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, he's like, we're fighting, right? Come out to the parking lot. We are fighting.
No.
Fight me to learn to respect me. And then, I have people that go, Johnny, Brandon's trying to fight somebody. I go, Brandon, we're not fighting anybody. And I goes, he's going to respect me. Yeah, but we're respecting everybody, but not fighting.
Best way to respect someone.
Oh, and I'm doing a podcast while this is happening.
Yeah, of course. Oh my God.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I'm glad you survived him staying at your house.
It was
long week.
It was a very long. So so Brandon, he's done. I had him on my podcast 4 months ago, and he's done with drugs and all that. And so he gets to my house, we go to dinner, and it's just like, so how's the drug thing going? He's like, oh, I'm done with not doing that. I get effed up every weekend now. I am. And I was
good.
Oh, I'm so glad I invited you to my house. Yeah. And he's like, no, it's cool, man. I'm not doing them there. I'm waiting.
Not in front of the kids.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So and then I have people coming up to me at my live show. They're just like, hey, is this tough for you? Maintaining your sobriety, with Brandon, excessively drinking here and the mention of drugs. I go, no, not at all. Honestly, I'm actually looking to bring back prohibition.
Exactly.
I have never been so on the other side of the fence than I am right now. This very minute.
That's amazing.
Oh my god.
And you know what? A lot of people would not guess that about me, I assure you. So,
Yeah.
I'm starting my podcast next week with an apology because I saw shades of Jonny Fairplay, and I was just like, I used to be drunk and obnoxious. I used to start fights. But I don't think I was ever at that level.
Mhm.
Yeah,
hopefully.
but I do feel I owe a ton of apologies. So I'm actually starting my podcast next week with that. I mean, because you don't know, until you're on the outside looking. It's just like, wow, that is bad.
If you haven't watched Karamoan, get ready because.
Well, I watched up until that meltdown, and then I saw where the edit was heading with Cochran, and I was just like, nothing's going to be any better than this meltdown, and so I'm good. So I tapped out, like I was done with that.
Nothing else.
and then I came back. Oh,
you missed the tooth situation.
I did miss the tooth.
That
situation.
that would have been better just now.
Yeah, and then Blood versus Water. I saw Blood versus Water, I guess. One or whatever with Tyson. I saw where that was. I tapped out pretty early on that. So I like Tyson. I felt like we were friends at one time, and I think we're friends now. But Heroes Villain, I was originally cast on Heroes Villains, and Tyson ratted me out for pregame alliances to production.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Which is crazy because now I feel like every season they're like, "Hey, game changers, let's put Andrea and
and
everybody
and everyone she hangs out with Wednesday nights in New York.
Yeah, let's put them all on the season.
Yeah,
Andrea and Zeke are we're good friends. I don't know if they still are.
Yeah,
I'm not a Zeke fan.
Yeah, Zeke overplayed both times.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not I'm just talking I heard at the finale, he didn't hang out with anybody. He was the show became the Zeke message and totally unrelated to Survivor. And it's just like, oh, I thought you were on this season. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, I understand it's a very horrific thing that happened, but you're still there's still a story outside of that you were a part of that, doesn't get mentioned.
The Game Changers cast postseason was pretty down. They were pretty negative. They were pretty beat up. I mean, we only, we had gotten a bunch of people from 33 onto the podcast. And then for 34, we only got Troyzan. And even Troyzan was like, so many of us are just done with it. Like, so many people just don't want anything to do with it right now.
Yeah. So Jeff lives 45 minutes. Me and Jeff talk. And, he was actually going to come Wednesday night. He had a closing on a house. He was like, I can't get out of here. And so, because he was actually, the house was actually supposed to close the day before, but it was election day. And Jeff was Uber driving people to the polls.
That's so cool.
So it's like for free. He was just like, here's free Uber codes. I will pick you up. Where are you? All day long. Let's go.
That's really cool.
So, that's awesome.
So, and for the record, I know Jeff caught a lot of heat for outing Zeke. I'm pretty sure he told 8 other people and not 11 million people. Just saying.
Yeah.
Fair point. Yeah, fair point.
Just throwing that out there. Hot take. I mean, I'm sure I'll catch heat for that, but I don't think Jeff Warner brought a satellite dish with him to broadcast. So,
yeah, no,
that was not his luxury item.
If it was, though, that would be insane.
Yeah, that would have been a dumb play on his part.
Are luxury items still a thing, or are they? Yeah, no. I mean they're not shown on TV, but
I don't even think. Yeah, I think they're done. So I would like real quick. Have you guys heard what have you heard for 40? What rumor or do you guys not do rumor and innuendo?
So, for me, I followed just a handful. I think my Alexa's getting triggered. I follow a bunch of people on Twitter, and I think there was some Hearts reality thing in Florida that you were talking about. Every winner was tweeting #40 and posting #40. So I don't know, but I like all the speculation. I love that messing with it.
Yeah, I've read Legends type thing. I'm pretty confident it's going to be an all returning season. I don't actually know the overall theme, but I would like them to do something. I know second chances worked when you were first watching it, and then I feel like as it went on, you started to get to the point where it was it's okay. But I would like to see something like that where you go all the way back and you have early people and late people. I don't know if Hatch is allowed to go on an island yet, but
he is. I spoke with him.
Yeah, like Hatch is somebody I would love.
That's why I wasn't on here as villains.
Why is that?
All right, so there was a cast of 20 people. Well, this is what was told to me. This could be a lie to save my feelings. They're not that nice. I don't see them just trying to save anyone's feelings. So, but I was told that there was a cast of 20 people that included me and Hatch, and they Hatch couldn't get his passport to leave the country, and so he couldn't go. And so an alternate cast that did not include Richard Hatch also did not include me.
So Tyson and Coach probably went in as like a pair.
No.
Or something. Or there was like probably a pairing that came up.
I want to say.
What do you think took your spot?
I mean, because on the cast that I was a part of, I know Hatch was on there. We did not have a pregame alliance. I know Corinne was on there. Was on the Heroes Villains that I was cast on. So once she got on when they shifted, they switched her too. Shane Powers, I think, was on the one that I was on, and when they shifted, so I know Russell took someone's spot, but I want to say because Russell was not on the one that included me and Hatch. Yeah. So, but I think because my pregame alliance was with Corinne, Randy, Tyson, and Coach. And then Tyson went to production because I read it like Terry Dietz's wife called me and I ratted them out to production.
We wanted Terry though. Why did you do that?
I didn't want Terry.
I love Terry.
Well, I mean, like if you look at my game back then, my game is to get rid of challenge monsters early. Like that. That was my. I played the second half of the game first, and if I can get rid of Terry before the game starts, that's even easier than doing it out there.
I mean, if you think about that villains cast though, and I love Coach, I love Tyson, I love Randy. But if you could have gotten a villains tribe of Boston Rob, you, Hatch, Shane Powers, and then you're probably gonna have to throw Coach in there because there's no way and Russell even or Coach, one of those. That's like an insane. Like those are real Survivor villains, if you know what I'm saying. Like, Coach isn't really. I didn't find Coach to be a villain. I found Coach to be delusional. And I think
he was a douchebag. He was a delusional douchebag, and that's what I told him. Like while his season's airing, like they're just like and he was like, "Yeah, I don't see that," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. That's it."
Yeah, that's how that works. Put on you, yeah. He didn't see he wasn't a villain. Phil, I think you're right. I think they made him like a laughing stock. That's not a villain. That's weird.
Exactly. So I don't know. I've heard maybe legends, something like that. I mean, I don't know. Do you have like insight? Or
what do you know way better than we do?
Hold that to yourself.
The latest I heard was possible fan vote.
Like a fan legends? Fan vote for legends?
Yeah, but which I'm more than cool with.
Yeah, that would benefit you very well.
Yes. That's that. I mean, spoiler alert. This is why I started my podcast. Was I feel like there's an entire audience of Survivor that's not familiar with my work, and this is a reintroduction. It's just like, hey, this dude's funny, man. Like this. I promise. Like if you like this, I do this out there. Except like I'm even meaner or grandiose out there than I am here, and I think this is pretty entertaining. So absolutely. So that that's the only reason that I launched Survivor and SFW was to reintroduce the character of Jonny Fairplay to Survivor fans. So and I'm banking on a fan vote because I feel that there's people that don't want me to come back and those people who are in charge. So but the rumor that I heard was possibly a fan vote and or it starts with 2 tribes of 10, and then Jeff walks out a 3rd tribe of 10. There's immediately a challenge, and 1 tribe is eliminated immediately.
Ooh,
that's insane.
And I think television wise, it's amazing.
But you waste a lot of characters.
When I was told that, I literally got nauseous. I mean, because like I run 3 to 10 miles a day. Like I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my entire life for right now. Like this is what I don't drink. I don't like this is all for right now for my phone to say, hey, what are you doing next May? This is
Yeah.
what this is all about. Like the, I go to, like, I have physically and mentally made the best Jonny Fairplay I can possibly make. This is it. There's nothing better I can make of myself. And to go, like, if that third tribe is me and Mike White, kill me.
So you, Mike White, Dr. Mike.
I look over, it's just like,
You
hey,
and a bunch of Mikes.
James and Rupert and Hot Cop Dan. I'm like, dude, if we forfeit, does this not count?
Yeah, exactly. That would be crazy because you don't want to waste so many people.
I don't think they care.
I mean,
well,
also
I think there's enough me's and there's enough Russells and there's enough Brian Heidecks that they wouldn't mind sacrificing us.
I think you're right, because especially considering, like, if what's happening with season 38 is true, they don't care.
Yeah.
I do not want to judge something before it happens, but season 38 does not seem.
I don't know.
Good.
I don't know. As I said, I purposely stay away from spoilers. My feeling on 30 for the little bit of information that I know is, like, all right, so you can get voted out and then you can stay till the end of the game on Loser Island and possibly come back. So
And win.
And possibly win. I could see them approaching someone like a Russell or like your higher echelon player and them going, no.
Yeah.
Like that. So versus your Aubreys where they're like, yeah, I'll do that. And like, it's just like, maybe don't bring back people that are on that sub level and, maybe concentrate on bigger stars. So, because I honestly felt that Second Chance was an experimentation in what survivors can do social media wise, and I think they went for a lower rung of talent. Well, number one, I think it was the excuse to get Andrew Savage back on the show. I'll tell him to his face. It's not, I think there's been seasons. It's just like, hey, we're doing heroes villains, and Jeff's like, he'd be good, Andrew Savage, and they're like, huh, who, what? And then just like, hey, what about? And he's like, hey, what about Andrew Savage? And they're like, no, and then I think Jeff's like, hey, I got an idea for a season. How about people that weren't that great at characters that you barely remember? Let's give them a second chance. And they're like, I guess, like, who? Andrew Savage.
Oh, good point.
No, he qualifies.
Yeah.
But I think it was an experimentation of, it's like, what can we do social media wise with people just like let's not put all of our we're not all in yet. Let's just test the waters. And I think that they were beyond thrilled with the results social media wise of because like Shane Powers was on my podcast and he was just like, the entire show is built on likes and hashtags and selling a car. Yeah. That's it. That's all Survivor is. Anything else, you're fooling yourself. It's not anything. It is likes, hashtags, selling a car. Nothing else. So you do Legends fan vote, likes, hashtags.
Yeah.
There's a car.
And you get so much public interest from doing that. I mean, I'll say, and this is not kissing your ass by any means, but the amount of personal texts and like messages I've gotten about having you on is higher than about having anybody else on. And I'm just saying that straight up. And I mean, the reality
they don't retweet my tweets.
Well, they don't retweet. It's a lot of people. Like, I got text messages from people who are like, "There's no way you actually are having Jonny Fairplay on," and I'm like, "No, we are." And like,
and I reached out to you. I reached out to you. Like
I'm glad you said that.
Wondering, like, there's a thing called the iPhone, and on there I go to iTunes and I check out podcasts under TV and film, and I get there. I'm just like, okay, so there's this hot chick, and it seems to be an okay dude.
Yeah,
they are ranked every week in the iTunes charts, and I am a Survivor Hall of Famer, and I host a podcast, and I've been in the charts twice, and I'm just like, okay, do people hate me? Do they not like me? Let me talk to these people and see what I'm doing wrong, because I like, maybe, like I listen to my podcast, because I like to make improvements, and I'm just like, this is funny. I like this. And then I'm just like, am I like, is this not good? Am I coach? Am I a delusional that thinks I'm making a good podcast and I'm really not?
Yeah. No, I don't know why
you said yes.
I don't know. Hey, you called me okay. She's the hot chick, and I'm the okay guy.
Well, I like you. I mean, like, trust me. I got people on this list I hate.
Yeah. That's good. That's a good start. I just had Jonny Fairplay tell me he likes me, so I'm going to put that on my wall here.
Put it on the resumes.
Yeah, exactly.
Says I'm an okay guy, and he likes me. And it's all about likes and hashtags.
Woohoo! Well, if you guys want to at least go back to the power rankings and maybe finish these off,
sure.
At some point,
I can knock it out.
So Jonny Fairplay he went to 9 and 10. You didn't do 7 and 8. So if you want to
John Morrison at 6, number 7, I have Gabby. So just despite my new hatred of her, even though I think she's cute, I think in another universe we would probably be dating. I really liked her butt 2 episodes ago.
Wrote it in the notes.
And I told her that. That might have stemmed the whole shady. And
that's what she thinks you're trying to sleep with.
Yeah, it's all making sense now.
Yeah, I am not trying to sleep with her, I assure you. So I think she's cute. I mean, like she's so self-deprecating, and it makes me. I hate that. Like I get it. Like I think we all see her. We all see our insecurities and stuff, and and it sucks. And like for her, she sees on the message boards, because we have talked, via, I slipped into her DMs, and she does see the message boards, and it hurts, seeing the Gollum and the ET references. But she's like, people called her that, and she called herself that prior to Survivor. So she embraces it and she's cool with it. But at the same, you can be cool with it, and embrace it all you want. If it hurts, it hurts, and I'm just like, girl, I think you're cute, and I think your caboose is a lot of fun.
That was your opening line. That was the dip.
I mean, we were probably 4 or 5 exchanges, but just like, hey, what's up?
And then drops the line.
I'm a legend.
No, I'm in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's a thing. Where's I have my
Oh yeah, doesn't he give you something? Does he?
Yeah, where's the plaque?
It's not a plaque. You want to grab it? It'll take 1 second. Hold on.
Go for it.
It's unprofessional, but give me 1 second.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yes, that's us.
Oh my god, look at that view of the Jonny Fairplay.
That is such a that troll face, that troll meme that looks like that.
Yeah. I mean, the way it's smiling at us, and the buff thing from a distance kind of looks just like a butterfly flying above his head.
I feel like that's going to haunt my dreams.
Hey, that's what you need.
Yeah, exactly. We need fat heads of ourselves.
He's back.
There you are.
You guys are saying he's the worst. Can we get Wendell back?
So kind. And
all right. There we go. I don't know if you can see Survivor. It's a candy. Cool. It's a candy dish. So because Gordon makes some, I think, and I think he made Rob. He made a thermos, I think.
Those are way more useful than a plaque.
Yeah, it came with Reese's peanut butter cups, which are my favorite candy. So that was cool. So
that is wonderful.
Yeah, but I like it when people there's the Facebook groups and they I think it's like Survivor fan jury. They're just like, is Jonny Fairplay a legend? And they're like, it's like, and I'm just like, I'm a Hall of Famer.
I have a candy jar, mind you.
Yeah. And I just see it, and I tell they're just like, just want to throw this out there. I don't believe in any I'm a bad guy, but I don't believe if you tweet something mean to me, I just block you. I don't take constructive criticism, or I'm just like, okay, you do not want to be a part of my life. That's okay. I get, and Yeah, people reach out to me on other forms. They're just like, "Hey, it was a joke." Like, I figure you of all people, I'm just like, "You are wrong. I do not."
Yeah, exactly.
I have no sense of humor. But like it, but I put on there. I'm just like, hey, if you like, this fan votes here is Jonny Fairplay a legend, and I'm seeing this. If you vote no, I'm going to block you because like if you follow any of my social media, like pretty much all of it's at Jonny Fairplay. Like I post, I have a beautiful 10-year-old daughter named Piper. I have a beautiful 17-month-old daughter, Madeline. Like I share my life. Like, it's not like I want people, like, once again, like this, purposely doing the podcast, purposely letting people into my life and showing, like, I'm just like, hey, like, I think I'm a pretty cool dude. And I'd like to invite you guys for the ride. I mean, like that, like I do the Patreon, I purposely do a 40-minute podcast because I think 3-hour podcasts are time consuming. So, but
as we dangerously barrel towards our,
I know. So, but like, but I also understand that, some of you like what I have to say. So it's just like, here, I have a Patreon side where it's just like, I'll give you another hour doing this. I'll give you another hour doing this. I'll give you another 30 minutes doing this. I'll give you a 4-minute video with people pooping themselves. Like I do everything I can. But if you know that I'm looking and I'm just like, hey, like, just give me a little respect, and you're just like, no, it's just like, cool, I will purposely not allow you into my life because you don't deserve to be. Like, that's pretty crappy, right?
It is. No, and the whole legend thing, I mean, I look at it, probably to be considered a legend, you have to come before heroes, villains. That's my perspective on where we're at Survivor. Like, I think the legends are pre-heroes, villains.
I agree with that.
I
agree pre All-Stars.
But I think that there's some like legendary type players who came after that. I mean, I think that Ozzy has been watered down now, but Ozzy after Cook Islands was somebody who was like everybody. That was like everybody loved him. Everybody loved James.
Such a horrible player, and he'll let you down in real life too. But
But I look at like, you've talked a lot negative about Rupert on this podcast, but Rupert is like a bona fide legend of Survivor. And you are a bona fide legend of Survivor. Like, there's no doubt about that.
He's on my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, Rupert's like absolutely. And I think Hatch is up there, and I think Jerry is somebody who's a Survivor legend, and Colby, season 2 Colby is a Survivor legend. Lex is a Survivor. Like, these are where your Survivor legends come from. I don't think that it's hard to be like. Yeah, somebody from season 36 is a legend. It's like they're one season removed. Like, how do we know? We don't know what it's going to last. Like, you're doing this podcast with us right now, and I text my friend who only watched the first 7 seasons of Survivor, and I'm like, dude, Jonny Fairplay's coming on my podcast. He goes, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like,
he called me okay.
Watched Survivor since. He has no idea who you are. Like, he has no idea who anybody else is, but he remembers that. So I think that's what.
And I kind of like, as I said, like, it's just like, I'm like, look, this isn't I like him, I don't like him. This is is he like, I'm just like, and if you like me, I'm kind of failing at my job. I didn't go on there going, hey, okay, I'm the guy, I save puppies. That's not my character.
I will jump in front of a bullet for a puppy.
Or an arrow.
Or an arrow, exactly. An arrow.
Much more perfect.
About the crossbow,
you're the pretty one. It's okay.
It's the crossbow, not the gun or whatever he shot him with.
Yes.
Well, who do you have at 8 then?
Okay. 8 is Christian.
That's who I have too. So that's perfect. We haven't talked about Christian yet, so I have him at 8.
Yeah. I once again, I don't like spoilers, but I do. There's personal information that I seek out because, like I don't want to know anything ahead of time, but I do want to be a little informed in that as I stated earlier, I really felt that the season was created to make a new Cochran, and Christian is that new Cochran. I was scared that he was manufactured, that what we're seeing is Christian playing this character that they want to give us. And like, because I'm watching the first, like I've been watching with my guard up because I'm just like, if this is fake, I hate him so I don't, I'm very anti, I love wrestling. I am a wrestler, I've been in TNA and all that. I'm just like, but I'm anti-violence. I would want to punch him in the face if this was a big ruse. because there was one of the, when the Brachachos won one of the rewards, they go back to camp. It's one of those scenes where Christian's in the background and he's acting normal, and I'm just like, is that did he mess up? Did he take off the performance cape and this is really him? And so I called and they're just like, oh no, he is a weirdo. He's a lovable weirdo.
Yeah.
But it is true. It's real. It's not manufactured. And I'm just like, all right, I can get behind this. I like this. So and then the fam. I mean, like. Once again, the girlfriend and Matt, like the 17-month-old, she hasn't voiced an opinion, but Piper, she is all in on Christian and Gabby. So they're enduring. I mean, and it sucks because like she met Nick. I'm just like, Nick, and she's like,
yeah. Well, and I think that means Christian and Gabby are doing what they were put on the show to do. You know what I mean? Like that they were supposed to be the lovable underdogs, the odd couple.
Wow.
Alexa, did you drop off? What happened?
I just passed away.
You became a logo.
Your fourth one is still there.
Oh my gosh. How do I fix this?
I don't know. What happened? But we were talking about how
you're not allowed to talk behind the scenes.
Oh my God.
This is why you're authorized and I'm not.
Okay, so I have the ability to eject this fourth person. Do I do that?
You should do it. If you disappear, Jonny Fairplay and I were talking about Piper's favorites. Okay, there we go. Piper has met Nick, but likes Christian and Gabby more. And we were saying that pretty much means Christian and Gabby are doing what they were supposed to do by being put on the show. And I think Christian, Alexa and I have talked about it a little bit. Some of it feels inauthentic. But then because it's so consistent, I'm like, no, this is him. This is just this guy. Like
I've gone to the source, and because I made this shirt. I got 8,000 messages. So see, are you kidding? Go away. I made that. Robots are better than girls.
Nice.
Which I thought was a pretty.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, well, it's available at JonnyFairplay.com, and you get a phone call from Jonny Fairplay when you order. So I made that shirt, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm making." And he's just like, "OMG, Jonny Fairplay is making a shirt about." And I was just like, "What color do you?" He's like, "I get to pick the color." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Blue." I'm like, "Okay." So it's blue, and it's a cool shirt. And so I was just like, "Hey, you mind tweet?" It's just like, no. And I'm like, "What?" He goes, I actually have a girlfriend, and like it's kind of rare that I do, and I'm just like, well, you should be like, slinging that thing right now. You picked a bad time to have a girlfriend. But he was just like, he goes, I cannot publicly endorse that shirt, or I feel I'd be jeopardizing that. And I was just like, sounds like a crappy girlfriend.
No, I was just gonna say, if that came up and I had a girlfriend and I was like obsessed with robots, my girlfriend better find that hilarious. Otherwise, like I'm going for the robot anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I robot girlfriend. I think it sounds good. So it sounds cheap. Other than
honestly, sounds like something that like might be real these days, but who knows?
We're getting there.
But he's the, as I said, he's the real McCoy. It is not, because he's a peculiar little thing.
Yeah, I'm a fan though. I really like Christian a lot. I don't think he can win it, but I love watching him play, and I'd like to see him make the finale. I'd like to get a Christian in every episode. I really would.
Yeah, well, I think I think he's gonna get his, I mean, as I said, I think the show is created for him. This is his story, despite how far he makes it or doesn't make it. And I think the finale will it'll be one of those. Hey, I don't care who the winner is. 15 minutes dedicated to Christian.
Yeah, exactly. So I already talked about my 10 with Alec. I have Dan at 9. We've talked about Dan a little bit. I actually have him the lowest out of everybody. I know he has the 2 idols, but my main thing is his reaction to even having his name out there, the way he like threw like a hissy fit. I was like, wow. Like, is he going to play that emotional this entire time? So that's why I have him a little bit lower. I don't think he doesn't have like the survivor maturity to just be like, okay, cool, I have 2 idols, doesn't matter anyway. Like he like flipped out. Like it was pretty weird. And he really hates Angelina a lot. So I don't know. I'm like mixed on Dan. So I have him down there at 9. I already talked about Alec at 10. I talked about Angelina at 11, which leaves only Carl as my bottom guy. So
I have Carl at 11.
I have Carl at 11 too.
And I just feel that Davey is the stronger challenge threat. So that's why I have Davey below him.
Yeah, I think though, because Davey has the idol, at least he can protect himself. Carl's idol nullifier doesn't actually protect Carl.
No, I hate idols, so I like the idea of an idol nullifier. But the more I think about it, I'm just like, I don't know if Carl's the right person to have it.
I don't think he is either.
I kind of agree with that.
Yeah,
because I feel like he like this.
What if he uses it on Davey's idol?
That's what I've been thinking. That's what I've been thinking.
And then that's what thinks gonna happen.
And then that line
Davey goes home.
Davey goes next, and then Carl is after. I like. So no, you know what? We might have solved the riddle.
Yeah, exactly. I could see that happening, and that's Davey's whole story. Is like Carl kind of saves him, Davey last, and then Carl goes home because now he's seen as more threatening. Everybody knows they can get Davey whenever they want, and
there it is.
Well, no. Next week, Davey's the vote, but he uses his idol to save himself. But and Carl uses the idol nullifier and puts him back on the market.
That's awesome. That would be awesome.
That would be great.
That would be great.
That's black on black crime right there.
Oh my God.
Are you allowed to say that? That's not. You can say that. It's okay. Well, if there were two white guys, you could say that's white on white crime. It's
I know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
I think you're doing that to Phil right now. Phil's having an absolute meltdown.
Phil's just not going to elaborate. Alexa, you're the only one who hasn't finished their power rankings. We got that far ahead of you. So why don't you do your 9, 10, and 12?
Okay. I said Carl's at 11. I have Gabby at 9, Christian at 10, Carl at 11, Angelina at 12. But I don't want to change Angelina. I don't actually know or think she'll go home this week, but I'm going to be a purist. I'm going to keep my list same way it was when I made it last night. So that's what I got.
But I did talk you into looking at it differently.
I think Angelina is, I think you're right. Angelina, I don't know if she's 3, but she's definitely not 12.
Yeah.
Okay. I just think, on paper, she is by far, no contest, the greatest strategist on this season.
Mm-hmm. So. I agree with that. I think that she definitely has the best strategic mind. I just don't think that she doesn't have the self-awareness of other.
She's a little missing on self. Like honestly, I'm smitten. I'll be 100%.
I can tell.
I am.
Yeah, she's a great villain. Like a lot of people don't like her, and I honestly get why.
My girlfriend doesn't think like my girlfriend and I just and I'm just like, I would that would be my ride or die. And she was like, you're crazy. Like her game is not you say that watching her, but she's playing a game for her. She ain't playing your game and you ain't playing with someone that's not playing your game. I was like, but who's to say she wouldn't play my game? It's like, she ain't playing your game.
Trying to control it, but I think you could pull off the manipulation there. I think you could do it.
I'm cool with working like me and Burton. We had mutual we had individual ideas and mutual decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So that can work. She could be my Burton.
Yeah.
She's Burton's a beautiful man, but she is, and she's those gray yoga pants. They are not her friend, but I am liking them more and more.
Now you know we're sitting on all of Angelina.
All parts of Angelina.
Well, we actually made it through the power rankings.
We did it, guys.
I want to say
2.5 hours. Didn't think we were going to do it.
I wanted to say before this podcast started, we said, Jonny Fairplay, how much time do you have? And he goes, oh, let's say about an hour. That sounds good, right?
58 minutes tops.
Yeah. And here we are at 2 hours and 31 minutes.
My family hates you.
We apologize. Apologize to Piper and your girlfriend for us.
They're just they do not deserve the rankings that they get. They steal people from their family. They're bad people.
There's the soundbite.
So we're the villains of the Survivor podcasting community.
Well, but you are authorized.
So. We are authorized.
All that matters.
Don't know who authorized us, but we are authorized.
I am the #1 most popular, most downloaded unauthorized podcast for Survivor on the planet because I am the only one. I'm the only one that they come after. I'm the only one that they dislike. I'm the only one that they don't want to be in existence. So, yep.
You know too many secrets. That's why.
But I don't feel I don't feel like I'm doing like Jenna Lewis is on my podcast and she said some stuff she probably shouldn't have said, but I didn't say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and then I had Michael Yerger on, and I said plenty of stuff that he didn't want me to say, and I took it out of the podcast.
Well, I mean, we keep it all in, man. Everything that was said today. We're live anyway, so anything that was said today.
Yeah, Mike. I like, but if you go to the live shows, like the next one coming up, November 21st, in Cincinnati, Ohio, tickets available at SurvivorTix.com. Like that podcast, or like at the live show, I tell the Michael Yerger story that he doesn't want me to tell.
Nice. See, I like that. There you go. So everybody should be going to Cincinnati. I don't care where you live. Get to Cincinnati.
Yeah, and December 19th for the finale. Oh, it's unofficial. Like you're not allowed to know when the finale is. It's December 19th.
Oh, really?
I got confirmation on that. And in Baltimore, Maryland, at Jimmy's Famous Seafood, you can see Jonny Fairplay there.
I was hoping you were going to fly to LA, man.
I know. I think I might be going to LA.
You know, I've looked at doing one, but I feel like I'm a season away because I like next year or season 38. I'm doing like April. I'm in Nashville at Zany's. We're looking at Boston. I think we're going to do a return to Durham for one, maybe Charlotte. And then one West Coast. Like I guess I could make it the finale, but like I don't like I feel that my everything is still in its infancy.
Well, I was just hoping you'd come out to the finale,
just to hang
for the finale.
Yeah, no. Once again, I have a girlfriend, a 10-year-old, and a 17-month-old. Everything has to be business related, or I'm not allowed to have any fun whatsoever.
Well, you're coming to hang out with a Survivor specialist. I'm out here. I'd be like, hey, what's going on? We're
authorized.
I assure, they're authorized. You don't understand. So no, I assure you that I can be assured. It's just like, yeah, they're on Skype. I just checked. You were in that room for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
You do not need to go to Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's true. So, but if you do a West Coast one and it is in LA, that would be awesome. I'd love to.
Where are you guys out of? Because I see there's just some Florida colors.
Well, we both went to Miami.
Oh, we went to Miami.
I'm a Hokie. So
my sister's a Hokie.
We're going there next weekend.
You're going to Virginia Tech?
Yeah, we're next weekend. Virginia Tech game this weekend coming up. I'm flying in. We're gonna be there on Friday.
Yeah, we're gonna drive 7 hours there from Philly.
You were possibly driving through Danville to get to Virginia Tech.
We go down. What's the road? 80. What is it?
81 at some
point.
81. We go down 81 all the
way. Friday night. What do I have coming up?
I need to be coming in hot.
I need to go to that game. Actually, I might.
Yeah, we're going to that game. We got the tickets well in advance. My sister graduated last year, so.
Oh well, Big Tom calls Frank Beamer.
Really?
Oh my God!
He comes in, she's like, Beamer, it's Big Tom. I need like 12 or 15. I'm gonna sell some. I'm gonna sell some tickets, and then I'm gonna go with some friends. But I need extra tickets to sell, so I have money.
Yeah.
And, Big Tom, his phone has so many. He did a golf tournament with Aaron Rodgers, and when Aaron Rodgers was in the Super Bowl, like that afternoon, he called Aaron Rodgers. He was like, "Hey, Ern, yeah, it's Tommy T. Yeah, and listen, how are you feeling?" He's like, "What?" He goes, "Listen, I got a bet. I got $50 on the Packers, and I just want to make sure my money's safe. So should I be?" And like Aaron Rodgers, like, "You're honestly calling me on the day of the Super Bowl to see if your $50 bet is safe?" He goes, "Yeah."
How do you get Aaron Rodgers' number? Like, is he friends with Aaron?
What?
They did a golf tournament together, and he got his number.
Oh my God,
that is crazy. I can't believe Aaron Rodgers picked up.
And so Aaron's just like, "Yeah, your $50 bet is safe." He's like, "All right, anything changes, you call me back because this is $50 we're talking about."
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, if you're down there, we're gonna be down there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll be down.
Yeah, we'll be around.
Okay, let me see. I mean, because I went to the Duke Virginia Tech game at Duke. Like
Yeah,
Virginia Tech lost to ODU,
Mhm.
and like my friends are like, dude, season destroyed. I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, I'm 40 minutes from Duke. I'm like, that sounds like a $5 ticket to me.
Yeah.
and it was StubHub $5. Like the game started, and I just kept watching drop, and I was like, click yes, $5 tickets.
Yep.
So
that's
great.
So yeah, I mean, I live in LA now though, but I'm flying back for Thanksgiving and all that. So that's why I'll be out on the East Coast. But that's why I'm saying, if you're ever out in LA and you do one of those, do a watch party or something or a live.
Well, as I said, I'm working toward. I said baby steps. I mean,
baby steps. I know. Hey, it's better on the East Coast anyway.
If you make it to New York, that's where I am.
Well, I mean, Baltimore is not like that. You can get to Baltimore. So, but like people were at the event, and they're just like, they're like, this is different than a Rob Has a Podcast know-it-alls. I'm just like, yes, he has an auditorium with 400 people, and I applaud that, and I'm so proud of Rob, and I think that's really cool. But like, I would not want to be in a room with 400 other people to see Jacob Derwin say anything in Purple Pants Bryce. So I'm sorry. Like I have an intimate, like I had 40 people in Durham, and I'm proud of that. I think 40 is I mean, like, the interaction is second to none. I mean, like we're expecting 60 to 80 in Cincinnati, and I'm cool with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think people like that more because they can actually get to talk. That's why people go to those things. They want to talk to everybody, and that's why the finales out here are fun. Like when fans get to go to the finales and actually see the players who just played. That's what they want. They want to just be walking around a bar with these people and talking to them. And so that's the best thing. I mean, that's, as a fan, that's what I want.
I reached out on Survivor Triple H. I reached out to Saddle Ranch and near Universal, and I was just like, "Hey,"
not far from me at all.
And I was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a live Survivor NSFW," and they're just like, "Yeah, we can get you a room for, I think it was like $3,500," and I was just like, "Okay, this is on a Wednesday night, and I'm bringing you, 100+ patrons to buy overpriced alcohol and food at your establishment." They're like, yeah, $3,500. Like I can assure you, the deal I have worked out with every other appearance that I do, I'm not paying $3,500.
That's
they are very appreciative of bringing an audience to them on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
So, but
that's Los Angeles, though. That's how it is.
That is. So.
That's how it's like. But all right. Well, now we're at 2 hours and 40 minutes. So do you want to you want to give us like a last note here, and then Alexa will take us home with the closing? We started our own Patreon too, believe it or not.
I saw you do.
We have 6 people.
Yeah, the $1 tip jar, right? Is that?
Hey, that's all we're looking for.
Well, see, all right. So at Survivor or Patreon.com/Survivor NSFW, it's $5 to get a video version of my weekly podcast. And honestly, all that really is, I mean, like, yes, you get a video version. That's my tip jar. I have a $5 tip jar. So for $10 is where you get your real content. So every Monday I do a Castaway watch along, in which we go through episodically watching a previous episode. Like we sync it up with the CBS All Access app or the Amazon Prime app, and so you watch. You have us beside you. You watch it, together, and we give you tons of behind the scenes stuff. Episode 1 was me and Matt. Episode 2 was me, Matt, and Andrew Savage. I have Sandra coming on for an episode. I got Rhino coming on for an episode. I'm probably gonna have Burton. I can't imagine he's gonna say no. So it's a fun companion piece. So that drops every Monday. Every Wednesday, you get the Survivor NSFW podcast, in which during the season we talk about the episode, and then in the off season I have a previous Survivor, and it's more of it's a very, I mean, like our biggest podcast that we've had, talking with other Survivor, like Shane Powers.
That's a good one.
Was incredible. I mean, he basically called Russell Hance a sociopath and Brandon Hance a possible closet homosexual. Like that was something. So then the next week I had Brandon Hance on and played the audio of Shane calling him a closet homosexual.
Oh, that's good.
And if you want to relive the meltdown on Karamoan, I had one on my podcast. It
for
was
only
something.
$10.
Yeah. So and then I had Fabio on, and it was a truly heartbreaking episode. I mean, because Fabio does not have the $1 million that he won. He has crystal meth and heroin users staying in his condo, and he's trying to help them, and he goes to buy food from them at Trader Joe's, he bought them, he's trying to get them off, crystal meth and heroin. So he buys them some hash oil to smoke. So he goes to Trader Joe's to buy them food and comes back. And before he has the opportunity to give them the hash oil, they had already stolen it from him.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And it's insane. I mean, like, and he's for those of you that don't know Fabio, he's a very likable guy. I mean, like, I really like, I shared a room with him at Hearts Reality, and he's he has his demons, he has his faults, but deep down inside, I think there's an extremely good person there, and I like him a lot, and I think with my podcast you hear that. I mean, it's like I don't care, like, I watch the show and I love the show. There's plenty of other podcasts that you can talk about strategy and stuff like that. That's not my podcast. I don't do that, and that might be why I don't have I'm not on the charts, because I'm just like, hey, I just want to give you a conversation between two kindred spirits, myself and other effed up survivors.
Yeah.
It's just like, and here it is. And then on Fridays on the Patreon side of things, I do a Q&A. And the first Q&A, like, people asked how I got on Survivor, and like Lynn Spillman found me at a gas station, and it's a crazy story. And so we basically we talk about the two versions of being a recruit versus a volunteer with Matt Bischoff, and we tell tons of stories about the double tree that you're not allowed to talk about. And we went over an hour talking about that, and then episode 2 of the Q&A, which dropped yesterday, Friday. We had a fan that was actually at the live event telling all the I have barely scratched the surface on the craziness that was Wednesday night with Brandon Hance. They are in attendance and watching the episode with Allison and her mom. Her mom was sitting beside her. So like when Allison wins individual immunity, it's only 40 of us. It's not 400. I apologize, but it's 40 of us. We're great. We're cheering. It was so cool. It's just like, what are the odds that the one survivor that I have, that's there, she wins the first individual immunity, and then to ask for the hug from Jeff, which I have done and received, and then to say all I'm thinking right now is my family watching this moment, and I'm looking over with a tear going down my face of her watching with her mom beside her, and a tear going down their face, and I'm just like, I created this moment. As big of a scumbag as I am, I gave 40 of you this moment, and I could not be any more proud of myself and so happy. And so and then there's Brandon Hance, whatever he's
there.
So and we also had Zane Knight. I mean, Zane Knight.
Oh my God,
Zane Knight was the happiest guy you've ever met. Like, he's just like, it sure would mean a lot to me if I get one of them buffs. I bet it would. And we had Jane from Nicaragua there, and like it's really cool. And so as I said, it dropped this, and so every Friday we have a Q&A. Next Friday we had already recorded. Actually, I bumped what was supposed to be. It's I have Brandon Hance sitting right here. There's actually a backlash seat that was sitting right beside me, and it was probably the most tension-filled hour of my life, because Matt had questions that he wanted answers to of why he was sitting on the front effing row and not on that stage for Caramoan. And the guy sitting beside me, Brandon Hance, had those answers.
Yeah. So,
and a lot of those answers were not the answers Matt was looking for.
Yeah.
So, and you also have a defensive Brandon Hance who, is just defensive by nature when it comes to him, and also someone that hates Matt for loving Survivor. Like he's mad, and Matt, like, Matt has a Jeff Probst stand up behind him. It's like, why do you have that? Like he's bothered that Survivor is a part of his life.
Yeah.
So, and and it's rough. It's so there's that's next Friday. There's an hour of of me. I would imagine looking pretty uncomfortable. And just like, okay, this is something. Last week we talked about the DoubleTree. So there's that. So and then as I said, we sprinkle in Cruising with the Castaway. So if you guys and anyone watching today or listening or whatever, if you want to try the Patreon side of things, it's patreon.com/Survivor NSFW. And I don't think we address NSFW means not safe for work. And I say the F word. I mean that it's not I don't dangle out my penis or anything like that. It's just I just say the F word a lot. I mean maybe
that would give a reason to get the video of your podcast, right? I mean there's $5.
Well, there's a $75 version, which honestly just gets you a buff. It does not. You do not get to see me in the buff, but and we have the private Facebook group, which is a big deal for some reason, and so anyway, there's that.
Sorted that up too.
But otherwise, get a t-shirt at johnnyfairplay.com. I do call you, and please go to iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, all these things that Survivor NSFW is available. Click the subscribe button, rate me 5 stars, leave a review that's nice. If you have a bad review, don't leave it. Keep it it's a little frustrating. I do the Hearts Reality stuff. Like, like the podcast I do to spread the image of Jonny Fairplay to get that name. The Hearts Reality and the charity, I do it to do charity work, to actually. So, but I'll be places like Hearts Reality and people come, they're just like, yeah, I'm a RHAP guy. I'm not and I'm just like, okay. I didn't know there was competition.
Yeah, we're all listen to all of it, or don't don't leave a bad comment on the one that you don't listen to.
I listen to wrestling. I listen to Serial. I listen to Up and Banished. I listen to the Richard Simmons podcast. I listen to about 8 different wrestling podcasts a week. I don't go, no, I'm team prowrestling.net. Screw you, team pwtorch.com. I listen to informed people talk I checked you guys, I reached out to you guys because I listened to you guys. I was just like, hey, these guys are fun. I would like to you talked to my friend Wendell and he had a good time. Wendell's not going to fake his way through it. I'm just like, I want to experience that. So that's why I reached out to you. I'm just like, I want to have fun too.
Well, we hope you had fun because we definitely had. This is our longest and probably one of the most fun podcasts we've done. Maybe.
Well, here, hold on. You get a special treat.
Do we get a candy jar?
I'm so scared because he's talking about the penis dangling thing.
I
think this is about to be the 17-month-old. We get the 17-month-old on the podcast. Hello.
Say hi.
Hello.
Say Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. Say Mickey Mouse.
Hi.
So this is her podcast debut. She's never done one.
There you go.
Oh,
wow, we have the podcast.
This is for the $100 patrons.
Yeah, exactly.
I love you.
We need to cut it off before that.
Say bye-bye.
Hi.
Hi.
She wants to wave. There it is.
There. Hi.
I love you.
Got him on. So they're like 60 right now as you're doing this 3-hour podcast.
Is that crazy?
No, that's not crazy.
Cool.
But man, those poor people, they have to listen to this for 3 hours.
Listen to us.
There you go. So, I think plug wise, that's it. That's all I got.
You plugged your podcast better than I will even attempt to plug ours.
Yeah, take a note from what Fairplay just did and plug us like that.
I'm gonna just take the last 15 minutes of the rest of our podcast to plug our podcast. So you just did yours. Well, the only new thing I have is we do have a patron program now. We have 6 patrons. It's very exciting.
I have 11.
Here we go. Competition. I
totally assumed you had more than 11.
No, if you look all the fixins, they get 3,000 a month. Yeah, I have 11 patrons, and once again, I like the fact that I can be intimate, not bed intimate, but intimate, in the Facebook groups, and then they direct message me. I don't advertise it, but if you're a patron, I'll follow you back, and so you can message me and on Twitter and stuff. I as I said, I love talking Survivor. I love Survivor. So, I don't, I'm just mad at Gabby and Dominic and Alec. That's it.
Another list. Okay, I'm completely changing my message. We need more patrons than Jonny Fairplay. Hit that patron button. Subscribe. $10, $1, tip jar, candy jar. I don't care what it is. Is it Patreon or Patreon.com? Whatever. Patreon.com/Survivor Specialist. That's all I got.
Yeah, exactly. There you
well,
go.
This is fun. Thank you so much. I'm glad I reached out to you guys since you
reached out too.
Since you didn't reach out to me.
Yeah, everyone who's listening, he came to us.
Here's the thing. I'll tell you the truth here, and this is something. And a lot of people, once they do their own podcast, they want nothing to do with another podcast, and I find that to be so crazy because I feel like the best way to grow a podcast is to use other podcasts to help grow. But I figured once you started the NSFW one, I was like, all right, looks like Fairplay's doing, like, I don't know if we reached out to Russell Hantz. I doubt that he would want to.
That's probably not.
Oh, he won't.
Yeah. So like that's kind of what I
passed that one.
I was like, there's no way Fairplay's gonna want to do this. When you messaged us yesterday, Alexa goes, "You better check our DMs."
I was at work and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. So I was getting sweaty. I was like, "Oh my god," but
I reached out to the
crafting responses to you. We were like, "We have to be so cool."
Well, I'll be honest with you. So I checked you guys out and I checked out the Purple Rock, and like I didn't like the Purple Rock that much. I mean,
I've never listened to Purple Rock.
Okay, well, I mean, I just, I just think you guys were better, and so, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just like, I'm being nice. I'm just like, and they were nice, and I'm just like, let me just send out feelers, and so it's just like, and they're just like, yeah, you're not the podcast. We're not the podcast for you.
What?
No, screw that, man. You don't do that.
Okay.
What a bold answer.
Well, I mean, I went to their house and peed on their car later. But, so maybe they're right.
Might do it. Yeah.
That's good.
I will not be.
More reasons why Gabby thinks you're shady.
Yeah. Well, I will not be peeing on your cars. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My car is very inexpensive, so let's keep it as nice
and it's pee free for now.
For now, hey, you know what? I do park it on the streets of LA, so I would be surprised if it's not pee free.
Yeah, probably. You know what? I take back.
My car smells of urine.
my car in Danville, Virginia, is definitely pee free. You know what? No, Brandon Hanson's been staying here this week. So yeah, maybe not.
Nobody is safe.
No one. Alexa, you have the only pee-free car that we're aware of right now.
It's because I don't have a car. That's a pee living in New York. If I had a car, I'm sure there'd be a lot of pee on it.
Yep, there you go.
Soundbite of the day.
Yep. That and don't kill puppies.
Yes, please don't kill puppies and something else. Oh, steaks are carbs are steaks.
Carbs are steaks.
Carbs are steaks.
True.
Please come back on. We would absolutely love to share podcasts with you. This has been so much fun.
Sweet. I'll bring you on one, like maybe like a Q&A or something if you guys are down.
That'd be great.
That'd be
absolutely awesome.
Maybe we could do like a 4 square. I don't like Matt's the tech guy.
We're not good.
I'm just talent.
We're so bad. We do Google Hangouts. It edits for us. It posts to YouTube. We take that from YouTube and we put it onto iTunes. That's all we do.
Yeah.
We don't put any of that into. We're happy we have microphones and headphones.
Yeah, I have a microphone and I just bought a new camera. So I look like I just got the Logitech HD whatever.
You have good lighting. I feel like I'm so dark. You guys have really good lighting.
I'm not as good. Like I need to. I'm not happy, but like I didn't want to like move stuff. So
you can't move the fat head.
Well, I did. Like I bring this to the live events. So actually the fat head just went back up, and then my picture. Like I have me and Fonzie right there, me and Leif Garrett, me and Obama, Alexis Arquette, Vanilla. Piper's God. Father is Ty Murray, the greatest bull rider ever. He's Jules' ex-husband, and Piper's godmother was Alexis Arquette, the post-up Arquette that passed away last year.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
So yeah, pretty crazy. So and I got Stephen Fishback. I
was wondering if that was him. I was looking at that picture. I'm pretty convinced that was him.
I got Randy Bailey, Roddy Piper, Addie Miller from the little zombie girl that died in the first episode. So she lives down the street. So. Anyway, craziness.
We're gonna go to that Virginia Tech game. We're gonna meet you, and we're gonna end up on your wall at some point.
That's the dream.
I have Tatanka. Tatanka can easily be replaced.
I love it. So we have a spot. We have a spot on the wall.
Gotta take a look.
Like Tatanka. I have a lot more pictures that do like this than do like that. So and don't isolate that. But anyway, guys, thank you.
Thank you so much.
A lot of fun. We basically went 3 hours. You guys are a-holes.
I know, we're so close. No, we did it. Count it.
Count it. Awesome. Thank you. And we'll stay in touch. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be in touch.